Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto takes being a ninja seriously. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by papireaz and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1 Uzumaki. It was a wet day in Konohagakure, the ground was covered in thick mud. However, the air was overflowing with laughter from children who were telling their parents about their test results. Look mother. I got 100%, just like a brother. A small boy with black hair and onyx eyes said. Well done, as expected of my son. His mother replied, ruffling her son's hair making him pout. On the other side a boy with hair compared to a pineapple was sleeping while his father read his results. Troublesome is what I would say, his dad said. And on the other side other parents were treating their kids to ice cream and other desserts, happy that their children went through a whole year at the academy. Some parents were even crying, wishing that their children stay like babies forever, much to the embarrassment of their children. All of this should have made anyone smile while walking by, everyone barring one. He had blonde messy hair, whiskers and a pair of goggles. Sighing from his swing, he stared at his classmates with jealousy. Not only did the teachers like them, but they also had parents. It was not fair. Why couldn't he have what they had as well? Maybe he had parents that were on a secret mission. Or maybe they were sealed and he had to save them. While he was dreaming about all this, right behind him a nasty older boy fly kicked him, sending him flying off the swing and plummeting into the muddy ground. Oh look. It's Naruto, where are you parents? Huh? Said the boy who kicked him. He had blonde hair and a nasty grin as he took Naruto's seat in the swing, cracking his knuckles. Next to him two of his friends came, a girl with black hair and a boy with brown hair and green eyes. Are you going to answer me? Hey loser. He shouted, alerting some of the parents. What they saw was Naruto staring at his goggles, one of the lenses cracked and mud dripping down from them, with a sad look on Naruto's face. Whispers started to go around and as Naruto looked up, most of the adults staring at him suddenly looked away, making him frown again. Oh, that's right, he comes here. One said. How dare he show up here? Another agreed. What is it doing? It's like it's not even human. One whispered. Most of the adults led their children somewhere else, far away from Naruto. That's right loser, they don't like you, and well neither do I. Now don't sit on my seat again, got it? Why did it have to be him? Always him. I'm sorry Zangetsu. I promise I won't sit on it next time. Naruto apologized, not looking up at the elder boy while doing so. He hated this, the feeling of not being able to do something. It was why he liked prank so much. Zangetsu laughed at him as he replied, come on kid, aren't you gonna fight back? Well it can't be helped, first you're hopeless and that can only be blamed on your parents. Probably just as hopeless as you, which is why you're alone. Zangetsu's friends laughed at that, drawing some attention from the adults. Should he be saying that? That could anger it. One said. Oh don't worry, the brat deserves it. Payback don't you think? Another said. No one paid attention until the other lens cracked, drawing more attention to Naruto. Scowling, he looked at the smiling Zangetsu, with fear burning clouding his senses. How was he supposed to fight like this? It wasn't fair. What did you say? Naruto said feebly, leading to his friends to start laughing some more. Naruto stood up, trembling while doing so, as he stared directly into Zangetsu's black eyes. Well he was afraid a little, he wasn't going to back down from this. Not now, and not ever. Zangetsu's friends stopped laughing as he stood up, turning to their friend who stood up smiling from the swing even more than before. It wanted to make Naruto punch his face, but with all the people here he knew he would get into way more trouble than it was worth. Now that's what I like about you, no matter what happens you won't back down. You never surrender, but it's time to teach you a lesson on Taijutsu, you loser. He shouted as he practically ran at Naruto full speed, only to be stopped by a ninja breaking them apart. Zangetsu? What the hell do you think you are doing? The man said, annoyed. Oh great, this instructor hates me, Naruto thought as he recognized him, his Taijutsu teacher every other week on Friday. Zangetsu stopped as he looked sad for a moment and Naruto wondered why. Maybe he didn't get to beat me up. I hope he never does. He thought to himself. Grinning, he decided to make fun of the elder boy, serving him right for picking on him. What's wrong Zangetsu? Oh, what's that for Ryu-sensei? Naruto protested as he clutched his head. His instructor had just hit him. Once again, however he had almost dodged this time. The instructor, at least 6 foot tall with a scar across his neck and a scowl to boot with it, replied coldly, you're coming with me boy, maybe the Hokage can teach you some manners. Struggling, Naruto tried to escape but couldn't as he was dragged across the floor, past the eyes of disapproving parents and their children laughing at him. Oh look, the loser got caught making trouble. Serves him right. One said. Ha. He got the lowest in the class and now this. He can never be a ninja. Another student said, glaring holes at him vindictively. They were scowling and hurling insults at him. Naruto returned the favor by smiling at all of them with his teeth showing, however on the inside he wanted to cry. It was always like this always. Why me? He thought to himself, trying not to burst into tears. It took both of them 5 minutes to reach Hokage's office on foot, where he was dumped. Sir, I have brought Naruto as you asked, however I caught him making trouble trying to pick a fight with some other children. Uriah lied effortlessly. Naruto opened his mouth to protest, but Uriah kept on talking, detailing how he spoke about other children's parents, which was a blatant lie, but he kept on going. 10 minutes later he bowed and left the office, leaving only Naruto, the Hokage and secretly his protective Anbu in the ceiling. Well, that was certainly illuminating. Tell me Naruto, does Uriah cause problems at school for you? Hiruzen asked, staring at the boy. Naruto nodded and the Hokage HM''D, as he continued. Well, good news is that I know that was a lie, the bad news is that I'm going to find a new instructor for your class and all the others. Confused, Naruto asked why Gigi. Smiling, he ruffled Naruto's hair as he replied, can't leave a hateful man in charge of the new generation, can I? Naruto shook off his hand as he hurled back annoyed, well why? Why do they all hate me? Sighing, the third Hokage lit his pipe. Maybe when you're older Naruto, now is not the time. The older man replied. Naruto wouldn't budge. No. If you don't tell me I'll run away. To somewhere else. I'll go become a ninja someplace else from here. Naruto said, crossing his arms in defiance. Laughing, Hiruzen Sarutobi looked at him and turned back on Naruto, much to his anger. Folding his arms and pouting, Naruto glared at him, almost as if daggers would be shot from them at any point to hit the third, in order to kill him. Or that's what he saw in his childish mind. Picking up a photograph, the third Hokage showed it to Naruto. Do you know who this is? The man asked the young boy, grinning at him. The photograph showed a man with blonde hair and blue eyes. He was wearing a Jounin uniform and next to him was a red-haired lady who looked pregnant, while behind him an older man with long white hair and red marks on his face was making signs behind their heads. They looked happy. Who am I looking at exactly? Naruto asked, more confused than ever. The third responded by pointing at the blonde man. At a closer inspection while rubbing his chin, Naruto came to a frightening conclusion about this mysterious man. He looks like me, without the whiskers. No Gramps, I don't know him, Naruto answered truthfully. Smiling, Hiruzen continued, I didn't expect you to. This was Namikaze Minato, one of the finest ninjas to ever grace these lands. That sounds familiar, Naruto thought. Oh. What happened to him? Is he going to be my new teacher? Naruto asked, hope in his eyes. Maybe he would get a good teacher for once. No Naruto, he won't. He died many years ago, coincidentally the day you were born. Hiruzen answered with a sigh and a defeated look. Naruto's eyes widened. Didn't my parents die on the day I was born? That's what Gramps said when I asked him. He thought to himself 1 + 1 = 2 and that man could be his father. Oh. Gramps, don't you think he looks like me? I mean, like, not to sound silly or anything. Naruto said while rubbing the back of his head in embarrassment. Laughing, the Hokage nodded with a somber look on his face. Just a smidge, in my humble opinion. Naruto matched his smile, as if this guy could be my father, he thought to himself. Minato is also more known by his other names, have you heard of the yellow flash of the leaf? Naruto's eyes widened as he realized who this was. You mean this is the Yondaime Hokage? Hiruzen nodded and Naruto gave a laugh. Yeah, as if I could be related to the fourth Hokage. Whoa Gramps, you know he's my hero. Nodding, Hiruzen began to tell Naruto a story of how Minato was an orphan, just like him. You know Naruto, you remind me a lot like Minato. He had no family and was alone for his life, but he persevered and used his strengths to survive even the harshest of times. Just like you. Hiruzen said, smiling throughout the entire story. Wait, just like me? Naruto asked, his eyes shining with an emotion he had never felt before, sympathy. The fourth Hokage had probably felt alone, just like Naruto, which only deepened the admiration he had for him. Yes Naruto, just like you. And guess what? He became a Hokage. Just like me. In fact, that bookcase over there is from his time in this office. I didn't have the heart to change it, so why don't you go and look at those books while I do some paperwork regarding Uriah? Hiruzen said, looking back towards the mountain of paperwork. Giving a massive grin, Naruto all but ran to the bookcase looking at the titles. Fuinjutsu boring. History of the previous Hokage. I thought the fourth was the coolest, what is all of this? He thought to himself. But one title caught his interest. How to be a Ninja. By Namikaze Minato. As in the fourth Hokage? Naruto muttered, confused as to what a book like this was doing here. Hiruzen asked without looking, did you say something, Naruto? The blonde boy gulped, was this real? Or was this a dream? Gramps, can you come over here please? Naruto said quickly. Looking over, Hiruzen saw Naruto holding a book for him. Rushing from his seat, weary for the boy, he quickly went over, and as he saw the title of the book, he grinned. Well Naruto. I didn't expect you would pick out a children's story book. You know many children have read it, I wonder what Minato was doing with it here. Naruto cut him off as he asked if he could borrow it. It was as if everything clicked for Hiruzen as he nodded and let the boy go home. Smiling, Naruto had never gripped the book tighter than he had ever before, maybe this was a chance for him. A chance to become like his hero. As he left the office, with a smile on his face, he accidentally crashed into a man wearing a Jonin uniform, but with a special patch at the bottom. He had dark hair and a beard and was smoking a cigarette, and Naruto felt a little scared. He looks like he is going to kill me, he thought to himself. When the man saw it was Naruto, he smiled and wished him a safe journey home, ruffling his hair as he walked by and into the Hokage's office. The rest of the journey had nothing else like that, but Naruto was pleased. Not only did he get an exclusive book, but someone had actually smiled at him. Oi. Dad, why was Naruto-kun outside your door? Asuma said. Hiruzen looked up to find his son, Asuma smoking a cigarette smiling. Naruto-kun. I didn't know you knew him so well, son. Asuma blinked as he pulled another cigarette and tried to smoke two at once, only to drop both of them. Well, he's just a kid. Anyway, it's what's residing in him that's the danger, not him. Unlike the sheep of this village, I actually listen to you. Hiruzen gave a hard laugh only to stop at his son's face, only to give a louder laugh, leading to tears forming in his eyes. You? Listening to me? Boy, did you add something to you cigarettes, I promise you I won't get angry. You're the person that listens to me the least, especially from when you were born, before that nobody defied me. Anyways, how was Kurenai? Hiruzen said while clutching his stomach. Asuma dropped the cigarette he had just gotten out from his packet as he stared at his father in shock. Oh yes Asuma, I know all about your life, and as your father it's my job to help guide you on wherever I can. Scowling, Asuma changed the subject. Dad, did you hear what happened? With Naruto, I mean, Shikaku told me about it, it seemed like it was a brutal affair. You know, you really should tell him soon. Hiruzen made a long sigh before replying. Setting aside his pipe, he looked directly to his son, and only then could Asuma see the toll this had taken on his father throughout the years. I wish I could, son, but it's a disservice to Naruto and to his parents. He can be strong without the knowledge of the Kyuubi, and I intend to keep it that way for as long as possible. Hiruzen replied calmly. Asuma disapproved as he retorted, Dad, I know you mean well, but they hurt him. It has the potential to get out of control quick. Hiruzen looked at his son even more seriously than before. My word is final Asuma, I'm only doing as the fourth wished. He said while giving a quick glance to the picture of three adults. Minato, I'm sorry but I promise you I'll protect him. Even if it costs me my life. Hiruzen thought quietly. Annoyed, Asuma left the room without saying another word, not before handing in a request for someone applying to be an instructor. Hiruzen looked at the file and smiled. This was the perfect person for this job, and he would treat Naruto with the respect he needed. Imi no Ruka. As Naruto ate his dinner, which consisted of cup ramen as he kept on shooting glances at his new book. Why couldn't Gramps see the cover? It was too serious for it to be a joke. He thought to himself. Disregarding his food, he picked up the book and flipped through the pages. It went up to 3,000 and some words from what he could see written on the front page, with over 850 pages. Not to mention the fact that it had at least 50 folded up pages full of writings in the back. Flipping to the introductory page, Naruto was greeted by a small passage. Hello. My name is Namikaze Minato and I'm the author of this book. Currently I've just finished this book, which took 6 months of my time to make, all for you. Yes, you who are reading this. Wait, Naruto thought to himself. I know hearing your old man speak like this is weird. But it's for your own benefit, Naruto. Naruto dropped the book as he stuttered at that last word. How does he know my name? Old man. Don't tell me no, that's impossible. But wasn't that red-haired woman pregnant? Maybe this was written before I was born and there is some other kid called Naruto. That makes sense. He tried to calm himself down. If you are wondering where you got your name from, it's Jiraiya-sensei's character name in his first published book. Your mother, Uzumaki Kushina, is very pregnant right now. Tsunade is predicted for you to be born by at least October the 10th, which is in 4 days, so there is that. Although well, mine is in January, October is still a good month to be born into. Droplets started to form on the page. As Naruto looked up to his ceiling he saw no leaks and was confused before he felt the tears coming down his face. At this point there was no doubt about it. Namikaze Minato, the yellow flash of the leaf, the Yondaime Hokage, was his father. Kushina, the red-haired lady, was his mother. But that didn't explain who the other person was, nor this Tsunade person either. This book is being hidden from everyone with a blood ceiling to which only you can access and a genjutsu that makes the cover seem like a children's storybook. This is because only you can have it, and if you're a descendant of Naruto's, well, hello, I'm also related to you, so don't throw it away just yet. Anyway, this book will describe my training regimes, most of my justice, some of your mother's jutsus and general knowledge you must know in order to become better than both your mother and I could have ever dreamed. No pressure, I believe in you. Best case scenario, your mother or I gave you this book. Worst case scenario, well, I've been hearing some rumors lately and things are starting to heat up. If neither Kushina or I are alive, then I'm sorry. I'm sorry for leaving you behind. Just know that your mother and I loved you very much and we won't stop loving you even if we are dead. However, if we are dead, then no question that the Kyuubi would have been sealed in you by either Kushina or me. The Kyuubi is a demon fox, very powerful and is made of chakra. It has been a part of your mother's family long before I was born and will still be a part of it long after I've died. Hopefully you do not have it sealed within you, however this is a chance that could happen. And even with the smallest of chances, anything could happen, even greater with me being Hokage and having lots of enemies that would want to harm the village, my family and myself. By the way, if you don't know already, your mother is a beautiful and fierce kunoichi with a dangerous temper and the reddest hair I have ever seen. So don't forget her as well, she means a lot to me. That Kyuubi inside you is dangerous. Incredibly dangerous, it can destroy many villages at once and people might be scared of you, they might treat you differently, but never forget that you still have people that care about you. Kushina and Kakashi are getting on to me right now for writing this instead of appreciating her cooking. Maybe one day you wish to become an Hokage like myself or you wish to travel down another path. Just remember that me, your mother and many other people believe in you and will support whatever you do. See you later, I'll try and write more of an introduction later. If this is it, then go to chapter 1, Chakra Control and Body. Goodbye Naruto. That was it. A note from his father, directed to himself. His last words that Naruto will remember, not to mention that this book was a memoir from his father. In order to guide him into becoming a ninja he wanted to be. He had a father and a mother. Both of whom died trying to protect their only son. And Kyuubi. That attack was on the day he was born, no wonder everyone treated him differently because they knew what was inside of him. I can't blame them, however, can I? Kyuubi must be scary, the blonde boy thought to himself. Not as scary as you would think. Naruto shrieked loudly as he heard a deep voice. Who's there? He asked, scared and confused. You were just talking about me. So it's Kyuubi, he can hear me? Naruto said. Yes, I can even hear your thoughts. Weakling. Well, that's not nice. What did I ever do to you? Naruto protested, he wasn't going to take this not from him. Wake me up whenever you get angry and you almost use my chakra but never get there. That's why you're a weakling, unlike your father who successfully sealed me even at the cost of his life. So you were inside my mother as well. Did you ever know her? He got no reply and he felt happy and sad. Happy he wouldn't speak to the big scary monster inside of him and sad that he wouldn't get to find out a bit more about his mother. She was kind, protecting you even while I tried to kill you. Same with your father. Don't talk again, weakling. So you tried to kill me and they still died trying to seal you away in me. Naruto said while crying. But no reply. Naruto sat the book down and finished his noodles deep in thought. I should tell Gramps about this, maybe he can help. Or this Jiraiya and Tsunade. Maybe even this Kakashi. After finishing his noodles he decided on what to do as he brushed his teeth and went to bed. That night he had the best dreams he had ever had. His family. The next morning Naruto woke up with a start. Eating cereal for breakfast and getting changed into some baggy trousers and a baggy white top, he opened up the book to read chapter 1. Chakra Control and Body. As you are well aware, being a ninja means you must have excellent control over your body and your chakra. This chapter will teach you the techniques and training exercise which I do, and hopefully it will guide you on the right path. First you shall learn chakra control through placing a leaf on your head and using chakra to make sure that it doesn't fall off. This is very important as not only is it a basis for later chakra control techniques, like walking on surfaces and water, but it will be useful for learning more higher level jutsu. Whilst I understand that doing a basic academy technique might seem rudimentary, it is a lesson worth mastering. After you have done this, please proceed with trying to climb a tree with only using chakra coming from your feet. Use it to stick to the surface and each time you fall mark the place with a kunai. Keep on trying until you can reach the top of the tree without falling or stopping. After that is fully done and you can walk up a tree with no problems, try and learn how to walk on water. This may be tricky at first, however the technique is very similar. You would just have to adapt to the constant changes to the water. While doing this, it is very important to constantly train your body by doing short sprints, push-ups and other exercises learned at the academy. Once done to a standard which either I or any jonin or high-level ninja praises your body, strength or speed, then please move on towards using chakra sealed weights, which can increase your strength and speed when being used. That was the method I used to strengthen myself. After these important steps have been completed, and I mean completed, then you can move on to this next part. However, please, and I mean please, do not start to learn this technique and training regimen until you are a chunin. And even then only do this technique with a jonin nearby if I am not available. Not only is this technique hard to even pull off, with a high chance of failure, but this training technique is hard even for my student, Kakashi, who basically created it. Once the conditions have been met, then that's when you can proceed. Step 1 is to learn the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Jutsu. This jutsu allows you to create real clones instead of illusions and requires more chakra than a normal ninja, something which you have most likely inherited from your mother and I. But this jutsu, not only can you fight an enemy with multiple versions of yourself, but you can also cut your training time by halves. However, you must exercise much caution with this jutsu as it can give you the wrong attention. Speaking of, never, and I mean never, allow anyone who you don't trust know the real you. If you didn't have either Kushina or I, follow this rule massively. As my son and most likely a holder of the Kyuubi, many people will be after you, and so it is very important that you give them a false sense of illusion and strike them when they are at their lowest. Not in order to learn this jutsu you need to learn the clone, tiger or horse hand seal. Here are a few pictures showing them. Naruto sighed. Not only did he have to wait years to even learn this jutsu, which seemed so cool to him, but it was also hard. Not to mention it could kill him, or even not work. And he couldn't even control a leaf in his head, the only time he did it was because of pure chance. And exercise. Okay, this is going to take some work, he thought as he got on the floor. Putting himself in a position to do sit-ups as he started to count up. The next day, Naruto was at the market shopping for kunai. While many of the civilians were looking at him strangely, Naruto didn't mind. After what Dad said, well, I can't blame them. Although I wonder what could make them trust me some more. Rushing past him, knocking him down to the floor was Zangetsu and his friends who had stolen a bowl from a restaurant called Ichiraku Ramen. Man, I wish I could go there, but they would probably drive me out. The owner was out of breath as he pleaded for anyone to help him. Please, help get that kid'll do anything, he said, breathing heavily. Even though he was 6, Naruto knew what Zangetsu did was wrong. Without a second thought he ran after the boy and jumped on him, knocking him on the ground. Hey, I'm quite fast. Naruto thought. What the hell was that? Zangetsu shouted as he was pinned to the floor. While only being 2 years older than Naruto and apparently being one of the strongest in the academy, Naruto had no trouble holding him down. Maybe it's Kyuubi's work. He thought as Zangetsu struggled to get him off. His friends were unsure on what to do, and eventually they fled as they saw the owner of Ichiraku's rush to them, a group of civilians and a jounin with him. Zangetsu managed to look to see who was sitting on top of him and was surprised to see Naruto on his back smiling. Please Naruto, get off me. I promise I'll leave you alone now, get off me. Zangetsu pleaded, struggling to escape. But Naruto refused to budge no matter how hard he tried to bargain. Why is it because of what I said before? I'm sorry, now please let me go. The older boy said, sweating more than he usually did. Naruto was about to answer, instead the owner of Ichiraku's cut off what Naruto was about to say. Thank you kid, thank you. I don't know how to repay you. The brat that ran away here stole my father's favorite bowl. Two wouldn't know what to do without you. As the other crowd got closer they started to whisper about him, but Naruto just smiled. The jounin was staring at him curiously, even if it was only with one eye. He wore a face mask and covered his left eye with his headband and had the most unusual hair color. Silver. Why didn't you let me go, Naruto? Zangetsu managed to ask as he was taken by the jounin, and almost everyone was looking at Naruto waiting for a reply. Some guessed he would say something evil, some thought he was going to start a fight. However, none of them expected him to stand up on a cardboard box nearby and shout out to all of them. I'm going to help all of you. I'm going to become Hokage. That's right, believe it. The jounin started to chuckle before leading Zangetsu away, who was now cuffed, looking at him with anger. The crowd was shocked, was this really the kid that had the Kyuubi in him? The owner of Ichiraku nodded as he shouted, so everyone could hear, I believe in you kid. Naruto's eyes softened as he heard that, eventually more people started to say it as well. Even though he was 6, barely in training and had the Kyuubi in him, he knew what he wanted to do. Looking up to the sky, he realized it was a bright sunny day. Even more so than usual as light bounced off his face and his infectious smile. Dad, Mum. If you can see this right now, I hope you can believe it as well. He thought, smiling into the bright blue sky. Smirking, Hiruzen Sarutobi was staring into his mystical glass ball, watching as the scene played out in front of him. He knew Naruto would pull through, even if it took some time. But he certainly didn't expect this to happen this early, Kami, he was only 6. He looked away from his glass bowl and picked up the picture with Minato, and for the first time in a very long time he spoke to it. You were right Minato, you were right. He certainly will not give up, even with the Kyuubi within him. You made a fine boy that will bloom into a fine man. He stood up and walked away from his desk smiling at the thought of Naruto becoming Hokage. If your father did it, so can you Naruto. Chapter 2 I hate trees. H. What a splendid meal. This is a fine establishment, don't you think Lord Third? A personal member of Hiruzen's guard said, rubbing his stomach in delight. Hiruzen sighed. They were eating at Ichiraku's, not a 5-star restaurant. Although, for a diner, it was quite good and lived up to the expectations a certain blonde boy had said it had. I suppose. Although, I wished there was less broth and more noodles. Hiruzen said quietly, however it was loud enough for Anbu Ninja to hear, causing him to put down the bowl and brush his clothing. The Anbu Ninja nodded at Hiruzen as he drew out his blade and ran into the kitchen demanding more noodles for the Hokage. Hiruzen tried to hide himself from the embarrassment as his Anbu Ninja went off, threatening to shut this place down for not being to the third Hokage's tastes and for having a poor establishment for not immediately rectifying the mistake. Deciding to step in, he went inside to the kitchen to see a bright red-haired chef on the floor ready to cry. He had a sticker on his apron that said trainee step back at once Anbu Ninja, I'll take over from here. Hiruzen said with a sharp voice. The Anbu Ninja immediately withdrew, bowing down to the third and leaving the kitchen, embarrassed beneath their mask. Hiruzen turned to the young boy on the floor and helped him up. I'm sorry for all the commotion son, what's your name? Hiruzen asked politely. The teenager stood up as he bowed and sheepishly rubbed the back of his head, continuously apologizing for making a terrible meal. Hiruzen shook his head as he said nonsense. It was a splendid meal. Only thing I wish was that it had less broth and more noodles, but there's nothing to apologize for. It's just my personal preference. Now have a good day young man. As Hiruzen left the diner he saw a small blonde child with whiskers rush past him into the diner he just left. As he sat down he heard as the blonde boy sat down in excitement, a wide grin on his face as he bellowed loudly, one miso chashu pork ramen please. I guess some things never change Hiruzen thought to himself, smiling as he watched a young boy in baggy clothes grinning at the trainee chef. Wow Tanjiro. You really outdid yourself this time. Said Naruto, tapping his belly and next to him were 10 empty bowls of ramen, all stacked up neatly on top of each other. Tanjiro, the trainee chef grinned proudly. Well Naruto, as the trickiest customer I have ever served, you sure are helping me train. Soon I'll be able to wait, why are you reading a children's story book? Naruto turned the page as he calmly replied, training. Tanjiro's eyebrows rose as he peeked over the counter and saw that inside was just ordinary pages about a talking elephant. Oh how is that training? I thought you wanted to be Hokage Naruto. He asked the younger boy, confused. Naruto shut his book as he proudly stood up on his seat and declared that he would be Hokage for what seemed like the 10th time that day. Tanjiro looked at him, his eyes wide open as he watched the 6-year-old boy wobble on the chair, eventually causing it to collapse, with Naruto thrown on the floor violently. That was, if he wasn't caught by a jounin. The jounin had spiky silver hair and covered half his face with a face mask, and his leaf headband covered his left eye. You should always be careful of your surroundings. The jounin said to Naruto, who turned to stare at the man who was holding him and grinned at him. Thanks mister. Hey Tanjiro, make some ramen for me and him, oh and for you as well. Naruto said as he was dropped to the ground gently. Jounin's eyebrows rose as he sat next to him, his eyes showing amusement and a grin underneath his mask. Thank you Naruto. But I insist that I pay. For both of us, as he brought out his wallet but Tanjiro refused to accept his money. No, no sir. Tanjiro said, shaking his head at the man. Naruto here has a special lifetime free ramen coupon, up to 15 bowls per day, for helping the boss recover something important. Naruto, that brings this up to 12, you have 3 left for today. 2 miso chashu pork ramen, coming right up. The jounin nodded as he turned to Naruto, who was still reading his book. Interesting, the jounin thought. So Naruto, do you always read? The jounin asked and Naruto nodded. This is my favorite book. It's going to make me become Hokage. Say mister, what's your name? You didn't tell me? Naruto asked him. The jounin sheepishly grinned as he replied my bad. I must have forgotten being caught up in all this excitement. Well, my name is Kakashi. Naruto smiled at him as he replied well Kakashi, as I said this book is going to help me become Hokage. Believe it. The jounin stared intently at the book. A children's story book huh? Wait did he finish it? He thought to himself, allowing his face to show surprise for the briefest of moments. Well, I found that hard to believe, Naruto. A children's book can't be a remarkable source of information, especially on how to become a Hokage. Say, what has it taught you? Kakashi asked as he began to stare at the chef working in the kitchen. Naruto smiled as he got out of his seat and walked 3 steps on the wall closest to them before sliding back down on the ground, resulting in a heavy thud. So, he completed it. Kakashi thought to himself as he clapped for the young boy. The Jounin smiled as he replied, remarkable. Especially for someone so young. How old are you again, Naruto? Naruto raised 6 fingers and the Jounin nodded. I need to speak to the third about this. Naruto might have learned some secrets and if he's not careful it could put him in potential danger, he thought to himself. The Jounin raised his hand to his head as he looked at a watch on his wrist. Oh. Would you look at the time? Sorry Naruto, I have something very important to do. Please eat the ramen for me. Toodles. He said before he disappeared in a flash of smoke, startling Naruto, who fell on the floor. This time no one caught him. But mister, you don't even have a watch. Naruto said loudly as he rubbed his head. Bon appetit, why are you on the floor, Naruto? Tanjiro shouted, confused. Walking on surfaces, you say? Are you completely sure, Kakashi? Hiruzen asked. The Jounin nodded. I wonder, how far did Minato-sensei go? He thought to himself. Hiruzen dragged his pipe as he smiled. Well, as long as the boy is doing well, I suppose he can train. Although Kakashi, you should supervise him. It would not do well if he found out about the 9 tails chakra, especially so if he doesn't know what happened. Hiruzen said. Kakashi nodded. But Lord Third, I introduced myself as Kakashi. If that book really does contain valuable information, the boy may very well know who I am. Wouldn't it be beneficial to come clean? Kakashi asked. Hiruzen sat down on his seat as he overlooked the whole village. Do as you wish, but make no mention of Minato. If the boy knows of his parentage only, then shall you reveal yourself. The boy would probably have questions that would need to be answered, and if he knows about the Kyuubi as well, inform me right away. Understand? Hiruzen cleared up and Kakashi nodded at his instructions. Yes, Lord Third. However, if I may ask. The only place the book could have been found in was in here, no? Kakashi asked, pointing at the bookshelf that had not been touched in years. Hiruzen nodded as he responded with a grin, what of it? He must have known about the book. Is this a test? Kakashi thought to himself. He then nodded as he bowed politely and turned to leave the room, his mind clear with only one goal. Help Naruto. However, he first needed to see the book himself to confirm that it was Minato's doing, not the Kyuubi's. As he jumped from roof to reach Naruto's flat. In a matter of minutes he reached Naruto's home and saw that his window was wide open. Rookie mistake number 1, seems like Naruto hasn't read deep enough. He's probably stuck on chakra control. Well, having one of the largest chakra reserves would be quite hard to control, I suppose, Kakashi thought to himself. Stepping inside, he immediately scoured the room but did not find the book. Although the room was a mess, rubbish everywhere. Window open, room like a pigsty. Maybe I should pretend to be a maid and clean this up for him. Kakashi laughed internally, knowing that if he did so at least Kushina would have been grateful for him. Moving silently, Kakashi swept through each room but still could not find the book. Eventually he found Naruto, sleeping on a single bed, clutching the book tightly. So he sleeps with it, holding it like a teddy bear. He must know some truth then, Kakashi thought to himself while smiling. This was his sensei's son, sleeping happily. And while not the happiest he could be, Kakashi knew it was all he could do. He was 20, a part of Anbu as well, not to mention having his own personal problems, mainly his inability to look after himself first and foremost. If it wasn't for Guy constantly checking up on him. He shuddered at what could have been and took the chance to look again at the book he had come here for. Deciding it was too much effort, not to mention outright dangerous to take, he covered the sleeping boy with a blanket and tucked him in gently before he fled, not without cleaning some stuff up. Kushina would come out of her grave if I allowed her son to live like this, not to mention Minato's wrath. Taking a last glance at Naruto, he smiled. It was good to know that his teacher's son was safe and sound. Not to mention learning, and while he was not an Itachi nor himself, it was enough to feel proud of him. I'll make you into a Hokage. Just wait, Naruto. Kakashi thought to himself, slowly walking away from the apartment, not before closing the window. Naruto woke up with drool all over his cushion. Sighing, he stood up and with a yawn, started to stretch and do some push-ups and sit-ups. After doing 25 of each 3 times, he went to brush his teeth and wash his face with cold water. Smelling himself, he decided to have a shower, and after that he finally got ready for school. The day was the day the new instructor would come in and teach them. I hope they don't hate me as well. Eating his cereal, he brought out his book as he opened it up. However, instead of reading further ahead or even the chakra control section, he remained on the introductory page, written by his father. I believe in you. But why? I'm not smart, not a genius. Why? Naruto thought to himself. I can't even walk up walls or trees using only boot chakra. I believe in you. Why? Naruto asked, sounding even more confused the more he thought about it. I believe in you. But why? He screamed, dashing his cereal bowl across the room. He shut the book as he tried to clean it up but cut himself while picking up the pieces of the bowl. Wrapping it up in tissue, he grabbed his bag and left for school. Unaware of the jounin that was waiting outside his window. He was a failure, no doubt about it. But he always worked hard, so how did his dad believe in him if he had died the day he was born? Not to mention, sticking the Kyuubi within him, as if it was a parting gift of sorts. He scowled as he saw some civilians shoot silent glares at him, as if he was as blind as a bat. Walking to school was sometimes difficult, the older kids thought it was funny to prank him or make him late, but since Zangetsu, their ringleader, was stopped, he was having no problems anymore. Since then, no one had challenged him for the swing right, which made him happy but sad at the same time. Even though Zangetsu was a bully, it was nice that someone went out of their way to speak to him. Even if it was for the wrong reasons and made him feel constantly sad and angry. Now, as he walked the streets, everyone was staring at him afraid. Parents stopped their children from going as they waited for the demon boy to walk by and be at a safe distance. All for one boy. He had black hair and onyx eyes. Wearing a blue t-shirt and white shorts, he walked past Naruto as if he didn't see him. Naruto recognized him, a student in his class. Uchiha Sasuke. Everyone loves him, why can't I be like him? He thought to himself. Sasuke had everything. Power, knowledge, and even a family that lived. You don't want to be an Uchiha, a voice suddenly said. Naruto turned around but was greeted with looks of scorn by the public, meaning it didn't come from them, or at least he didn't think it did. Deciding it was a prank played by his mind, he walked faster in order not to anger the civilians even more. Eventually he passed Sasuke, who looked at him weirdly but decided to match his pace, eventually overtaking him as he grinned confidently at him. Is he challenging me? Naruto thought to himself. He couldn't challenge Sasuke, could he? I believe in you, he remembered his father's words from this morning. I believe in you. Deciding not to be one-upped, Naruto matched the Uchiha's grin and walked faster than Sasuke, something he was more than pleased to see as he tried to catch up to Naruto. Eventually, the two boys started to sprint after one another and they were both grinning as they reached their classroom. Sasuke was out of breath and sweating profoundly, while Naruto seemed to be fine. Nice race, Naruto. I didn't know you were that fast and had so much stamina, Sasuke said, offering his hand to Naruto. Naruto nodded as he replied, wow Sasuke. You sure are incredible, I didn't even know if I could catch up to you. Naruto raised his hand to shake his, but was promptly pushed out of the way by a blonde girl with long hair and her pink-haired friend. The blonde-haired girl sent Naruto a sorry look as she helped him back up. Sorry about that, Naruto-kun, Sakura is quite excited today. Naruto shook his head as he replied happily, no, it's okay Ino-chan. I'm excited as well. Ino smiled at him as she led Sakura away, who was trying to jump back to Sasuke, who had a red face. He looked back to Naruto and waved at him. Naruto went over to him and Sasuke asked if they could sit next to each other for the lessons today, which stunned Naruto. He's asking me to sit next to him. He doesn't hate me, does he? Naruto thought to himself. Naruto nodded as they took the second to last row on the right side and they stood behind their chairs. Next to Naruto, Shikamaru and Choji, they were discussing about the best flavors in ice cream and in front of them were Sakura and Ino, the former staring at Sasuke when he was looking away, causing Ino to roll her eyes. After a minute or two of standing, Naruto started to get bored as he noticed Sasuke was practicing hand signs below the table. Horse, serpent, ram, monkey, boar, horse and tiger. He asked the boy, confused as to what jutsu he was trying to achieve. One of the first things Naruto had been forced to learn in the book was to know all the basic hand seals, as early on they were an important part for drawing chakra for jutsu and other things. Sasuke looked at him and went red as he nodded. Naruto grinned and tried to practice with him, but he got stuck on the boar hand sign, leading Sasuke to teach him a shortcut. When you're doing the boar hand sign, the previous hand sign, monkey, makes at least one hand sign close enough to the position boar is in, so it's easier to connect. Understand? Naruto nodded as he took a deep breath and closed his eyes. I believe in you. Horse, serpent, ram, monkey, boar, horse and tiger. Naruto thought to himself as he practiced it with his hands. Sasuke's eyes were wide open as Naruto opened his left eye. You did it. With your eyes closed as well, that's so cool. Sasuke said, going to high-five Naruto, who paused before reaching his hand out to him, leading to a clap to be heard throughout the classroom. Before Naruto could ask what jutsu it was, their new instructor entered the room. He had long brown hair, tied up and had a scar across his nose. He wore a Chunin uniform and had a big grin on his face as he looked around the class. Hello class. I'm your new instructor from today, taking over from Ryu. My name is Iruka and you can call me Iruka-sensei. Please sit down once I've said your name on the register. Iruka said, still smiling brightly at them all. One by one, the class began to sit down and once it got to Naruto's turn, he gulped. He's probably going to miss my name or tell me to get lost. Right when I've almost found a friend. He thought to himself. He closed his eyes and hoped for the best of luck. Uzumaki, Naruto. Naruto opened his eyes, shocked. He didn't skip me. Naruto thought to himself, surprised. Maybe, I'll have an actual teacher this time. Is Uzumaki Naruto here? Iruka said once again, looking around the class. Naruto put his hand up as he loudly replied, yes sir, Iruka-sensei, I'm here. Iruka nodded and Naruto sat down. Maybe school isn't so bad after all, he thought to himself, a grin starting to come on his face. After finishing registering the class, he turned to them all excitedly. Okay class, I understand you have done this exercise before, however it is an important lesson. Therefore each and every one of you shall take a leaf from this basket and make it stick to your head using only chakra. Any volunteers? Iruka asked. Before anyone could even process the question, Naruto's hand was already up. Okay Naruto, come here and show the class. His new teacher said, happy that at least one person wasn't shy enough to stay still. Grinning, he stood up and walked down the aisle. Some people were already whispering. The failure. What is he going to do? One said. As if Naruto can do it, he got the lowest scores last year. Another said. Looking back at his seat, he saw Sasuke staring at him and below him Ino was watching intently, all the while trying to rotate Sakura's head to face the front. Grabbing the biggest leaf, he placed it on his forehead and breathed while closing his eyes. He had done this before and while it may have been alone with only a book in the room, it was nothing to the pressure he was feeling at that moment. Control your chakra, control your chakra. He thought to himself, concentrating as much as he could towards the leaf on his forehead. Silence. The whole class was silent. As he opened his eyes he saw that everyone was staring at him in shock. Confused, Naruto looked at the floor but he didn't see the leaf on the floor. Even after searching around before he realized that he had done it. Not only that, but even after moving around for a minute the leaf was still attached to his forehead. That was longer than anyone in their class could do, well maybe apart from Sasuke. He did it. One said. Wow. I didn't know he had it in him. Another classmate said. I always knew he would pull through, I've been his believer since day one. Iruka coughed as he looked at the students badmouthing him and gave them a glare. Sasuke was watching him, smiling as he gave him a thumbs up. Naruto returned the favor which sent the class into more shock. Sasuke is friends with him? One said confused. Maybe Naruto isn't so bad. Another offered. Naruto grinned as he addressed the whole class and shouted believe it. He felt good for a few seconds before Iruka slapped the back of his head lightly for disturbing the class atmosphere. But the leaf still remained on his forehead despite that. Wow, class. Great work Naruto, keep up the great effort. Iruka said while patting his back. Naruto put the leaf aside as he walked back to his seat. More and more people were looking at him in awe. But he remembered what his father had said. Give them a false sense of illusion. While it pained him, he knew it had to be done. He had the Kyuubi in him, if he succeeded too much the civilians of Konohagakure might be wary of him, not to mention the third, and that would lead to him explaining himself. If he said he found the book, others would demand they have a copy, which would put him as the fourth Hokage's son, as wide as it could, and the secret that was potentially saving his life would have been undone. And that means his dad's enemies would come and seek revenge. And even if he lied, that would lead to more distrust, and not even the Hokage could protect Naruto from everything, after all, he was only one man. Sucking it up, he purposely tripped himself and made his finger break, leading to a sharp pain. Ignoring all the people laughing at him or screaming for concern, Naruto was in his own world. With his own problems. Just as things were starting to look good for him, he had to tear it down, for his safety and for the safety of Konoha. Why? Sasuke asked him after class. HN? Naruto responded, not listening to the boy as he was staring intently at his injury. As Naruto looked up from his bandaged finger, which had healed very quickly, he saw Sasuke staring at him, confused. Why what? Naruto asked. Sasuke looked even more angry as he stepped closer and said why? Why did you purposely trip yourself? Now people think of you as the same boy as last year, but you're not. You improved a lot, so why? Naruto smiled as he stood up and replied, I don't know what you mean. I just tripped over, that's all. Rolling his eyes, Sasuke slapped Naruto on his head lightly. Oh come on, do you like being seen as a dope? He huffed out. Naruto's smile faltered as he wondered the same thing. Did he? Someone told me that being a ninja is deceiving the people you don't trust. Naruto answered, wavering at the end. If he wanted to become Hokage and surpass his father, he needed to stick to the book as if it was his gospel. Sasuke looked lost in thought as he replied, "Why did you tell me that?" Naruto gave the biggest smile as he poked Sasuke's forehead in response. "Because I trust you, idiot," Naruto said simply, as if it was always there. And to be fair, while he was sometimes jealous of the Uchiha, he did admit it was much cooler to be friends with him. Plus, he seemed like a fun person to hang out with. And, he didn't know or care about his secret. One of them at least. Sasuke's eyes widened as he looked at Naruto. "What? Did I say something wrong, Sasuke?" Naruto asked, worried that he might have pushed too hard, far too early. Sasuke shook his head. No one had ever said that about him, not even his older brother or parents, not to mention the countless cousins he had. Before he could reply to the blonde boy, a familiar voice cut in, "Hello Sasuke, how was school today?" As Sasuke turned around he saw his older brother, Itachi, standing there. "Itachi. What are you doing here?" Sasuke asked, gaping like a fish. "Itachi? They look similar, maybe they are related." Naruto thought to himself as he scratched his head. Itachi smiled as he replied to his brother. "Well, I had some free time in between my missions and I thought it would be nice if I visited my younger brother. Is that a problem?" Sasuke shook his head as he said, "Nah. I was just surprised. You're never like this at home." Turning to Naruto he added, "Itachi, meet my friend Naruto. Naruto, meet my brother, Itachi." Itachi stared at Naruto, it was as if he was calculating something within his eyes. "Sup, I'm Naruto." Itachi's eyes widened a little as he waved at Naruto with a forced smile. "So, my little brother has finally gone and made friends. That's good, well don't allow me to interrupt you guys. See you at home, Sasuke. Goodbye Naruto. Oh, and don't stay out too late." Naruto waved goodbye at Itachi. "Wow. I wish I had a big brother like you. Instead I'm alone," he said sadly, however he quickly rebounded it with a bright grin. "Maybe Sasuke will be like my brother," he thought to himself. Sasuke's face scrunched up. As he replied, "What about your parents? I don't think they would like you saying you're alone." Naruto shook his head and Sasuke looked confused. "So not even Sasuke knows," he thought to himself. "Sasuke, I don't have parents. They died protecting me from the Kyuubi attack 6 years ago." After hearing this, Sasuke apologized for his rudeness. Even after Naruto said it was fine he kept on apologizing, saying it was his fault for being careless and most importantly, rude to a fellow classmate no less. "Honestly, it's fine. And now that you're my friend, you know. So don't worry about it," Naruto said brightly and Sasuke gave him a small smile. After a few back and forth banter, both boys decided to go eat lunch and Naruto decided on the perfect place. "Ichiraku's ramen?" Sasuke asked, unsure of what it was. Naruto nodded and replied, "Yeah, you're gonna love it." After reaching the diner Naruto ordered the usual, but for Sasuke as well. As Sasuke was about to reach out and pay, the very tired Tanjiro declined, saying it was on the house. "It's not every day Naruto brings someone, especially a friend," Tanjiro said with a soft smile. As the ramen bowl was served, Sasuke looked uncertain. Whether it would be good or whether it would be bad. He eyed Naruto who was slurping the broth already and Tanjiro, the eccentric teenage chef as he called himself, was staring at him waiting for judgment as if it was life or death. Taking the first bite, he chewed and chewed before swallowing. "Well, Sasuke?" Naruto and Tanjiro asked, wanting to be met with another ramen enthusiast. Sasuke responded as he quickly finished the entire bowl. "Could I please have another?" Sasuke asked, his grin matching Naruto's and Tanjiro's. Training was hard, Naruto decided. He was panting as he tried to walk up the tree. Sasuke was watching and cheering him on. While he couldn't do it himself, he would ask his father and brother later on when he went home. "Come on Naruto. You managed to do 5 steps, you can get to 7. Sasuke shouted at his new friend. While he had achieved 5 steps climbing up the tree, it was meaningless when compared to the whole size of the tree. "Come on. I can do this, believe it," Naruto thought to himself, concentrating once again to draw chakra at his feet. Naruto ran up the tree's surface, clutching his pen. Well, he couldn't afford to buy a kunai due to many reasons, one of which included a secret he wasn't supposed to know about yet. He decided on using a pen as it gripped his hands. 1 step, 2 step, 3 step, 4 step, 5 step, 6 st. His thoughts were lost as he immediately plunged into the ground with a loud thud. "You're putting too much chakra on your feet, Naruto," said a familiar voice. Naruto looked behind him to see a familiar covered-up face. "Kakashi. What are you doing here?" he asked, surprised that the Jounin was talking to him once more. Sasuke was standing near Naruto, almost as if it was protection, and was eyeing Kakashi to gauge if he was a threat or not. Kakashi thought it was cute. Well, cute for them, if he really wanted to he could have killed them oh so very easily. "Well, I noticed that 2 children were playing in the forest. And well, as a jounin, it wouldn't be good if something happened to either of you. Kakashi said simply. Sasuke nodded as he stood down and went back to his seat, which was the tree opposite Naruto's. Come on, Naruto. You went to 6 that time. Sasuke encouraged his friend. He simply couldn't wait to try and learn this. Yes, he could impress his father if Itachi taught it to him secretly. Or, even his mother could help him. Kakashi observed as Naruto ran up the tree, this time he only made 3 steps before collapsing. With all his big chakra reserves, no wonder he is having a hard time controlling it. Kakashi thought to himself, thinking of a way to help the blonde boy. Naruto gritted his teeth as this time he shouted at the tree, I'm going to climb you. Believe it. Kakashi sighed as his teacher's son didn't even make it to 4 steps this time. Like I said, Naruto, you're putting in too much chakra, this pushed you away from the tree. However, if you put too little you won't stick at all. Kakashi said once more. Kakashi carefully walked to the tree closest to him and he was then slowly walking up it, surprising both Naruto and Sasuke with the ease he had managed to pull it off at. Naruto, chakra uses spiritual energy, so each time you fall and you get angry, it actually disrupts it. So relax and only concentrate on the tree. Bring your chakra directly to your feet and feel it. If you fall, don't get angry. After all, this is something not most genin can achieve, let alone a 6-year-old. Kakashi said flatly, hoping to encourage the boy not to give up. After all, if he wanted to be Hokage he needed to be better than genin at his age. Kakashi then threw a weapon at Naruto. It was a 3-sided custom-made kunai with special inscription written out at the bottom in a neat straight line. The Yondaime Hokage gave this to me as a gift. A gift to pass on to the next generation before he died 6 years ago, and so I entrust this to you, so use this instead of a pen, Naruto. Kakashi said, suppressing his smile. It wasn't strictly false, he had given it to Kakashi before his death as a gift for when his son grew up. Naturally, he wasn't irresponsible enough to give it to a 4-year-old, but he had graduated from the academy at 6, so this was the perfect time. Naruto looked at him curiously. Does he know? Or is this a coincidence, Naruto thought to himself, however he disregarded it very quickly. How would this man know? He looked no older than 20. Naruto picked it up and while it felt heavy it also felt right. There wasn't a word that he knew of that could describe the way he was feeling right now. This was his father's and now he was using it, the only son he ever had. His legacy. I believe in you. Naruto grinned as he stared at the tree. Concentrate, focus all the chakra at my feet. He thought to himself, focusing all he could in that one moment. After what felt like a lifetime, Naruto sprinted towards the tree, his face as determined as it would ever be. While his parents are not in the land of the living, while he may have the Kyuubi stuck within him, one thing he knew for sure was that people believed in him. The 3rd Hokage. The owner of Ichiraku's. Iruka-sensei. Sasuke. Kakashi. And most importantly, his dad and mum. The first step he took on the tree was perfect and as he took the second he was perfectly balanced. His 3rd and 4th step were perfect as well and as he got to the 5th he found himself continuing even past the measly 7 steps he had wanted to achieve. Naruto laughed as he ran up the full length of the tree with very minimal problems. At the very top of the tree he could see most of the hidden leaf, basking in all of its glory. The clouds didn't seem to be as high as they once were to Naruto and it was all going well. Until Naruto realized that he was falling. And he was falling fast. As he braced himself for impact, he suddenly stopped as he saw Kakashi reach out to catch his left arm, suspending him in the air. Well done, Naruto, consider me highly impressed. If you keep up working like this, maybe you might become Hokage. Kakashi said with a grin. Naruto twirled around to see Kakashi smiling at him, well if that's what Naruto assumed he was doing behind the mask, yeah. You better believe it, Kakashi, and can you please put me down? Kakashi grinned underneath his mask. Oh alright, whatever you say, Naruto. He said, amused. And with that he let Naruto fall, who was flailing around in midair, his eyes suddenly rolled back and he threw his father's custom kunai onto a strong tree branch. Naruto quickly performed a hand seal, which was a mix between a half tiger and ram, as he suddenly vanished out of thin air. What? Kakashi thought. The only other person who he had seen do that was. He suddenly turned around to see Naruto in one piece on top of the branch, seemingly knocked out. How in the hell did he manage to achieve the Hiraishin no Jutsu, Flying Thunder God technique? Not only was it improbable that a 6-year-old could do it, but he didn't even make a marker the kunai. Kakashi realized. Minato gave me this kunai after Naruto was born. I didn't think much of it, especially since he left soon after to fight somebody who attacked Kushina. Not to mention soon after he, Kakashi thought, his mind spiraling to many theories that could explain this phenomenon. As Naruto began to stir he quickly panicked as he realized he was on a branch, all alone with no way to get down. Help. Help, please, somebody help. I don't know where I am. The 6-year-old boy said frantically, tears were starting to be formed in his eyes as he looked around confused. Interesting, Kakashi thought. So he has no recollection of what happened, and from what I can tell that last jutsu took a lot out of him, even for someone with large chakra reserves. Kakashi thought to himself. After getting Naruto down, he told Naruto to never try running on surfaces without him again, and he bid farewell to both Naruto and his friend, but before that he turned to Naruto and asked him a question. Naruto, have you ever heard of the Hiraishin no Jutsu, Flying Thunder God technique? It's a technique used by the 4th Hokage. Kakashi asked, hoping for a no. Naruto shook his head as he replied no. Is it cool? Kakashi ruffled the boy's head and promptly left in a hurry. That ruled out the boy using the book dangerously, which led to one thing that could have possibly made as much sense, not that it was clear as well. The third must know about this. Kakashi thought instantly as he rushed to his superior's office. Entering Hokage's office was an honor for all shinobi. Entering without needing to clear the third's timetable was even more of an honor which Sarutobi Asuma did not always have the pleasure of having, even while being the current Hokage's son. So when Hada Kakashi interrupted their weekly father-son bonding session, Asuma was beyond confused. Did something happen? Asuma thought to himself, his cigarette still lit. Panting, Kakashi took a moment before speaking erratically. Lord Third. Naruto. Minato Jutsu. How? Hiruzen told him to breathe as Asuma asked Naruto. What's wrong with him? And what does the 4th have to do with him? Hiruzen gained a serious look as he ordered Asuma to leave, despite his best protests. How's Naruto and the 4th linked? Maybe I should do some research, Asuma pondered as he left the office. Hiruzen placed down his cup of tea and put his pipe in his mouth, awaiting the news from Kakashi. Well. Kakashi explained everything, from the climbing of trees, the custom kunai that Minato gave to him years ago, and more importantly the fact that Naruto used the Flying Thunder God technique and do not remember a single thing. I see, Kakashi. And I suppose you believe that Naruto read ahead in this book that you say he has. Kakashi shook his head as he responded, no Lord Third, I don't think that is it. When I asked Naruto about the technique he told me he had no clue about what it was, let alone would he have used it. No, it seemed like Naruto lost control of his body for a split second and became someone else. Hiruzen's eyes rose at this. A different person, don't tell me, Hiruzen thought as he looked back at the picture he had on his desk. That was the only way, however Kakashi might have gone to a different conclusion. So you believe that the Kyuubi did this? To save his life? I find that hard to believe, even for myself. Hiruzen said. But Kakashi shook his head even more violently. I think whatever seal Minato put in Naruto actually took a little bit of chakra from him with it. In case the seal loosened to the point of the Kyuubi breaking free. But maybe, and I mean maybe, when Naruto himself feels like there is no hope of survival and he is certain of his death, Minato's skills and reactions take over Naruto's mind. Hiruzen nodded. I agree, that was my conclusion as well. The seal he put, not much was known about it and even Jiraiya was lost for words. It seems like Minato had done the impossible, planting a memory or an after-image of sorts into him. Most likely to stop him if Kyuubi tried to gain too much control. Hiruzen said. Kakashi sat down and replied in Kushina. She was with him the entire time, no doubt she has something to do with this, especially since it's her son and she was the previous Jinchuriki. Hiruzen took a long drag, it seemed like that was all he was doing these days as he looked to the crystal ball next to him and started to concentrate on young Naruto, who had just arrived home and was reading his book. You may be right, Kakashi, it certainly seems plausible. But more importantly, what in Kami's name were you doing in order for a reaction like this to even occur? Hiruzen asked, confused. Kakashi sweated profoundly as he rubbed the back of his neck and apologized for being so careless. Well, you see, Lord Third. Flying Thunder God technique, that's what Kakashi said, right? Naruto thought while flipping through his book. It sounded like a cool technique. If Dad really did use it, then it must be here, aha. Naruto grinned as he found the page he was looking for. These next few pages will be detailing a technique which I've used greatly, one which even the Nidaime Hokage, Tobirama Senju, used. This technique is the Hiraishin no Jutsu, Flying Thunder God technique, and allows you to manipulate space and time by teleporting to a location which you have marked. While to others it may seem like you are teleporting, in truth actually it is more akin to a summoning jutsu which you by no doubt have already learned and maybe even mastered with Jiraiya's help. This technique is achieved by making a seal of confrontation, which looks like a mix between the tiger and ram hand seal. Once you know this, proceed to making your mark. I have done this by creating a custom kunai, one where when I throw and it lands I can use it to teleport to that location. I should have already given you one, tailor-made for you. If not, please proceed with these steps. Naruto stared at his new weapon, which was sitting right in the middle of his bed. Is this it? He asked himself. It looked like a normal kunai, just customized. As Naruto picked it up, he threw it across the room, right next to his door as he did the hand seal, and practically screamed Hiraishin no Jutsu. One moment he was facing his door, and as soon as he blinked he was standing right in the middle of his doorframe, the kunai underneath his feet. "Whoa," Naruto said, grinning like a child opening up presents for his birthday. Naruto played around with it more, but after 2 other times he got really tired, something that did not happen often, and he decided to read more of the book, lest not hurting himself and having to explain to the Hokage what occurred. He wasn't good at lying normally. Much less so for this. This jutsu is very difficult and you most likely won't get it first try even if I taught you. Hell, even if the second Hokage taught you it would be a miracle if you would get it first try. So don't sweat it, instead be grateful as most chunin like you would never even dream about doing this. Chunin. I was going to have to wait to become a chunin to have tried this. Well, look at that Kyuubi, maybe I'm not a weakling anymore. Naruto thought to himself, hoping that he would get a reply. Naruto got no reply as he started to make himself a sandwich filled with chicken and cheese. Say Kyuubi, what is your name? If you have one of course. Naruto asked mentally. I can't hear you. Kyuubi is fine brat. Naruto smiled as he mentally replied so no more weakling. Haha even you know how awesome I am. Compared to the fourth Hokage, your father you are nothing but a little pebble in a grand ocean. Don't test my patience brat, although you aren't as weak as I thought. If you could let me out, I could make you even stronger. Naruto shook his head as he responded no. If you get out, you will be a meanie again and you could hurt Sasuke. Ah, the Uchiha boy. I would love to make him and his clan scream while I massacre them. Why? Naruto asked, but he got no reply. The Uchiha's cursed eyes are a plague, one that needs to be cured. Okay, but why? Listen brat, if you say why. One more time, when I escape from here not only will I kill everyone you have ever liked, but I will relinquish each moment. Naruto rubbed his chin as he thought hard before asking. What does relinquish mean? Father. How do you walk up a tree using only chakra? Sasuke asked. It was a burning question he had since he had arrived at his home later that day. Well Naruto did it and he was proud of his friend. Sasuke was waiting for the chance of his father noticing this and teaching him, or even Itachi. Waking up a tree surely you don't mean that Sasuke. I doubt any child in your class knows what that is, let alone has tried to even practice it. His father replied with a smirk. Sasuke pouted. His friend did know about it, not only that, but he succeeded in doing it. But father, Naruto did it. Sasuke replied, standing up slightly. Fugaku's smirk dropped as soon as he heard his son say that. Naruto. Naruto who? Sasuke smiled as he stood up and responded my friend, Uzumaki Naruto. His mother dropped her plate on the ground as she turned to him and his father sighed. Why are they both staring at me like that? Did I do something wrong? He thought to himself. Father, mother what's wrong? Sasuke asked, concerned. His father merely stood up and walked out of the room, but his mother, Mikito sat next to him and asked all about this Naruto. Well not many people like him and I don't know why. He's funny and really nice, he took me to a ramen place and let me have 3 bowls for free. But he also tried to teach me to walk on the trees, but I decided to ask my father and Itachi for advice. And then mother, he did it. He walked up a tree without falling using only his feet. Sasuke said. Makoto smiled as she patted her son's head causing him to pout again. Well Sasuke, I'm very happy that you found a friend. Remember what I told you about them? She asked her second son. Sasuke looked at his food, thinking long and hard about this before replying confidently. Always keep an eye on them. His mother laughed as she shook her head. I think you have been spending too much time with your father Sasuke. Then what is it mother? Sasuke asked. Makoto pointed to her heart as she replied to always protect them and to always be with them if they make you happy. Before Sasuke could reply, his older brother walked into the dining room. Hello mother, brother. I trust you and your friend had a pleasant day. He asked politely, as always. Sasuke nodded at his brother when Itachi sat down opposite him and began to dig into his rice balls while his mother stared at him in shock. What? I'm eating. Itachi said with his mouth half full leading to their mother to smack him across the table. Sasuke laughed as his mother scolded him for bad behavior and Itachi grinned at Sasuke. So Itachi, can you teach me how to climb up trees? Sasuke asked, his hands fidgeting. His brother was probably going to say no, as always. Itachi looked up from his food as he opened his mouth to reply, but instead their father spoke for him. I'll teach you myself. If this Naruto child can do it, then so can you Sasuke. We shall begin tomorrow after school so be sure to get here nice and early for extra time. Understand? His father said sternly. Sasuke smiled brightly as he left the room, unaware of his brother's eyes lingering behind his back. Makoto, did you warn him about that boy? Fukuagu asked his wife. Makoto shook her head as he began to shout at her. What do you mean no? He said, confused. Itachi stood up in his mother's defense as he replied Naruto is good for Sasuke. Not only does he genuinely care for him from what I have seen, but wishes the best for Sasuke. From afar I could see them having fun, so please father. Don't ruin this for him, he is only 6, not a member of Anbu like I am. He isn't like me. Makoto smiled secretly, it wasn't often her son showed emotion well for anything, however he always had a soft spot for his brother. Something that made her happy as their parent. Hokage turned towards his firstborn as he coldly responded oh, and what would you know about that demon? He's caused far more problems for us, and if Sasuke is seen with him, even more could arise. Itachi cut his father off as he said, it doesn't matter what is within him, or who his lineage is. Naruto is a good boy, a boy who is determined to be Hokage. And frankly, I believe one day he will. You will hurt Sasuke if you cut him off, even if they have been friends for a day. They are 6, not at the age for becoming chunin. Now if you shall excuse me I shall retire to my room. Thank you for the lovely meal mother. As Itachi left the room, Fukagu was met by a furious stare coming from his wife. Makoto he started. Not one word. She replied furiously, closing the door as she prepared herself for a serious conversation with her husband. Okay class, today we shall be learning more about the village. Shikamaru please tell me how many Hokage there have been. Haruka said, grinning at his new class. Asleep, not even a nudge from his friend Choji could wake him up. Okay, Sakura? Haruka asked. The pink-haired girl counted with her fingers as she held up 3. Incorrect, anyone else with a different answer? Haruka asked his class, hoping at least one would answer. Naruto put his hand up. Yes Naruto. Haruka said, relieved. His lessons only worked when the class participated. 4. There were 4 Hokage in total. Raising up the number 4 on his left hand, Haruka-sensei nodded as he asked, can you name them? Naruto smiled as he replied the Senjus, Gramps and Namikaze Minato. Haruka smiled as he said good job Naruto wait Gramps. Naruto nodded as he responded yeah Gramps. The 3rd Hokage. The whole class moaned as Haruka facepalmed himself. Even Shikamaru woke up due to the sound being made. Honestly, he's so dumb. One said quietly. Gramps. Is he disrespecting the 3rd Hokage? Another said, ready to fight. Haruka quietened down the class as he spoke to them all calmly. While yes, Naruto is partially correct. The Senju brothers were the 1st and 2nd Hokage respectively, Sarutobi Hiruzen is out 3rd Hokage. Not Gramps Naruto. And you got the 4th Hokage, Minato, right. Okay class, today that will be all until after lunch where we will be discussing the 1st and 2nd Hokage. Remember, don't leave the building unless it's with your parents or guardian. Haruka said, going to the staff room to eat his lunch. A bento box today, with a small snack that he was looking forward to eating. As most of the class cleared, only a few remained behind. Sakura shouted at him as she tried to lecture him on the importance of treating the 3rd Hokage with care. Ino looked bored as she tried to drag Sakura away, but both stopped what they were doing once Sasuke walked by. Hey Naruto. Want to come eat outside? Mother packed some ice cream, but it's too much for me to eat alone. Want some? Sasuke asked. Naruto gave a toothy smile as he nodded. Sakura complained why he was asked and Sasuke snapped at her, because he is my friend. If you were, then I would invite you as well. Sakura was left gobsmacked, leaving Ino all alone to calm her down. Friends Naruto thought. I like the sound of that. He thought, following his friend, Uchiha Sasuke. Okay. Class, settle down. Haruka said facing towards his class today, we shall be doing another chakra control technique. This time with leaves, however, it is different than you might think. Picking up a medium-sized leaf from his table, he showed it to his class who stared at him with confusion. Sighing, he placed the leaf on his forehead as he concentrated hard. What's he doing? A student asked, leading Haruka to point at the leaf. Watch Haruka said. The class watched as slowly, the leaf on their teacher's head started to rotate and as time passed it was only getting quicker. The class watched in awe as Haruka described their task. So all of you can stick the leaf to your forehead with no problems, but in order to learn higher level jutsu when you are older, there are multiple factors that come into play. Therefore, learning to stick the leaf to your forehead while constantly rotating it is an important training exercise to reach this goal. He said to them. Haruka started to hand out the leaves as he continued, however, it has been a few months since we have done the leaf sticking, so please refresh yourselves, and once I've cleared you please start to rotate it until lunchtime. He gave out leaves to all of those at the front as he walked to the back. Choji was eating a packet of crisps, Haruka didn't mind of course as Choji did try in his lesson. His friend, Shikamaru on the other hand. Shikamaru. What have I told you on sleeping in class? Haruka snapped at his lazy student. It was always the same with the Naras, he had hoped Shikamaru would have been different. He was wrong. Completely wrong. The boy raised his head annoyed as he gave a tired look towards his teacher who was raging at him. After the lecture was done he yawned and put his head down back on the desk, leaving Iruka even more angrier. Why me? Even while this class has many bright students, each has a quirk that somehow diminishes their genius, the teacher thought. Placing a leaf next to him, he looked at the next two students who were eagerly awaiting their turn. Naruto cackled as he was drooling at the sound of learning higher level jutsu, ready to snatch away the leaves. His friend, Sasuke, was holding himself back, however the look in his eyes told a different story. Come on Iruka-sensei, we don't have all day. Lunch is here and I want to get this done. The blonde boy stated. Sasuke nodded in agreement with him. As Iruka gave the boys their leaves, they immediately went to work sticking it to their forehead. So Iruka-sensei, can we move on? Naruto asked. Yes, both of you can move to the second task. Remember, try to stick and rotate it at the same time. Iruka replied. The boys nodded as they started to concentrate fully on the rotation task. Iruka had a smile on his face as he walked past them and onto the next row. Those two. Even though Sasuke, an Uchiha genius, is going to be the rookie of the year, Naruto never ceases to surprise me, even if his test scores seem below average. Iruka compared the two students. No doubt about it, both would be fine shinobi when they grew up. After he finished handing all the leaves out, the last being a shy timid girl with the Byakugan trembling as she received the leaf from her teacher, even when he encouraged her. Go on Hinata, you can do it. Iruka encouraged as she nodded and focused on the leaf. As Iruka sat down at his desk, he reveled in the peace he had created in the classroom. While his class had the potential to be so noisy, even the Hokage had to lecture them sometimes, this was his day. As he closed his eyes, the only thing he heard were the gasps of children in his class. Wait, gasps? Iruka thought, confused as to what was happening. His tranquility was broken with a loud shout from a voice whom he recognized came from Sakura, the pink-haired girl in his class. As he opened his eyes he was shocked at what he saw, even if it was for a split second. Naruto. How did you rotate your leaf? She had practically screamed, in between her staring at her Sasuke-kun. Naruto, the poor boy, turned red at this loud remark, causing even Shikamaru to turn his head and face him. So now he wants to look. Iruka thought darkly. That Nara was a pain to deal with. Wait, was he rubbing off on me? Everyone in the class was staring at Naruto, some in disbelief and others in awe. Even Hinata, the shy Hyuga, was staring intently at Naruto with a smile on her face. Well, you know, the blonde boy stuttered out, clearly not expecting this reaction. The whole class was encouraging him to do it again as he protested, saying he didn't do it. Iruka watched intently, pretending not to notice as the boy tried to do it again, but couldn't even make the leaf stick to his forehead. Odd. He could do it just a second ago, Iruka thought to himself. As most of the members of the class lost interest in him, Naruto gave a sigh of relief when no one was noticing, unaware of his teacher's eye watching his every movement. Naruto smiled when someone called him a loser from across the class. What? That's an odd reaction. Naruto is further from a loser than anyone, in fact he rotated it without even knowing. Iruka stopped his trail of thought as he came to a terrifying realization. His student did it on purpose, he knew what was happening and achieved it before realizing people watched him, whether on accident or not. He is trying not to draw attention to himself. But why? Iruka thought to himself. Before he could do anything the bell rang for lunchtime and all of his students bid a farewell. Before Naruto could leave, Iruka called him over to his desk to have a talk, much to the dismay of the blonde boy. Iruka-sensei. Did I do something wrong? The boy asked. His teacher frowned as he shook his head. If he was hiding this, then what else has he been hiding? Iruka thought to himself. No Naruto, nothing of the sorts. I just wanted to ask you a question. He finally answered. Naruto nodded as he replied, ask away, Iruka-sensei. Iruka thought for a moment as he responded, well Naruto, how long have I known you for? Naruto replied instinctively, 5 months since you first taught us. Why? Iruka stood up as he collected his students' test results and showed them to him. Well Naruto, what do you see here? Iruka asked him. My test results? Naruto answered, scratching his head in confusion. Iruka raised his brow, asking Naruto to give another answer. I don't know Iruka-sensei. What is it you are trying to say? Naruto asked, clearly trying to get out of trouble if the look on his face meant disappointment. Disappointment that he got caught. Iruka pointed to his first test that he marked from Naruto's, a test where he got 75%. He then pointed to the second test, one where he got 31%. Don't you find that odd Naruto? Iruka asked the blonde boy. The boy shook his head as Iruka sighed. He really thinks he can fool me, he muttered to himself, half proud and half annoyed at his student. Naruto, these tests were repeats of the same test. Exact same question, so I wonder how the first time we went through it you got a higher score than the retake. Every answer you got in the first test were incorrect in the second. That is no fluke, believe me on that as your teacher. Naruto pretended to scratch his head in confusion, but Iruka could see it in his eyes. Naruto was disappointed in himself. Disappointed in getting caught. See, I don't mind Shikamaru getting lazy, oh I know he is more than capable, and even he knows it. Everyone knows it, he just doesn't care. You on the other hand are a special case. Iruka said. You pretend to be dumb, even when you are not, and when something like this happens, or even today when you rotated the leaf on your second attempt you purposefully fail. Why? The boy's eyes widened as he knew he got caught in his lie. His posture went more tense as he replied, why, Iruka-sensei? Yes, why Naruto? Iruka asked once again. The boy waited for a moment, one that seemed like eternity for Iruka. Is he going to answer? The teacher thought. Because Iruka-sensei, someone told me that a ninja should always try to be underestimated by those he doesn't trust. Naruto explained. Iruka scoffed as he responded to his student, only enemies should underestimate you, never your allies. Everyone here is your ally, you lying to them about who you really are is breaking their trust, and that is one of the worst things you can do. The boy scratched his head as he replied, his voice trembling. It is. Iruka nodded whilst internally sighing. Of course he doesn't know, nobody ever taught him, I suppose, he thought to himself. Iruka ushered Naruto to the doorway as he whispered to him, listen Naruto. There is nothing to hide, however if you don't feel comfortable I'll make you a deal. Get as low as possible on the actual exam and I will let you retake it without the watchful eyes of everyone else. It will be our little secret. Deal? Iruka said. Naruto smiled brightly, his demeanor suddenly changing. Deal? Naruto said, excitedly. Iruka watched as his student ran out of the classroom as he caught up with Sasuke, who had been waiting at the end of the corridor. At least, he has friends who make him happy, regardless of what is stuck inside him, the teacher thought, unaware of the smile creeping on his face. Sasuke watched as his friend devoured his 7th bowl of ramen, half in awe and half in disgust. While he himself had personally eaten 3 bowls, which was more than enough to fill him up, his friend ordered an 8th, much to the delight of the owner. Tucci, the owner of Ichiraku's ramen, was a middle-aged man who constantly wore a chef's hat and watched with a smile the speed at which Naruto was eating his meal. Easy there Naruto, can't have my favorite customer choked to death. Tanjiro. Prepare the 8, now. He said, leading the red-haired intern behind him to raise his hands in a mock salute. Aye, boss. Coming right up. Tanjiro said, getting to work with a grin on his face. As Naruto slurped the remaining bits from his bowl, Sasuke could see some ramen stuck on his face. Naruto, clean your face. You have some ramen stuck there. Naruto grabbed his tissue and wiped it, with a grin on his face as he replied, thanks Sasuke. Sasuke turned to his 4th bowl of ramen and gave it to Naruto as he said, 3 is more than enough for me. Have it? Naruto shook his head as he passed the bowl back. Nah, I can't eat that. It's yours Sasuke, and I can't take ramen from a friend. He said. Scowling, Sasuke offered it to the owner who refused it as I can't eat during business hours, the man parroted. I'll have it if you will. A voice said. Turning around, Sasuke saw a familiar silver-haired Jounin approach them. Naruto quickly turned around as he nearly shouted, mouth full of ramen, Kakashi. The Jounin laughed as he replied, Ma Naruto. Please eat before speaking. If you will Sasuke. The boy smiled as he gave the bowl of ramen to the Jounin who started to eat it without removing his mask. How does he do it? Must be a genjutsu or something, Sasuke thought to himself. Kakashi ate it all in a minute as he turned to the 2 boys and ruffled their hair, making Sasuke squirm and Naruto to frown. You know Kakashi, we aren't children anymore. I'm nearly 7. So stop ruffling my hair, like a baby. Naruto protested. Sasuke nodded as he reminded the Jounin that he had reached 7 in July. However, the Jounin was hearing none of it as he grinned behind his mask, seemingly thinking up a response. Well, as long as you are not Jounin like myself, then you will always be children. Now, the last time I saw you, before my mission, when was it? Kakashi asked, smirking underneath his mask. Naruto frowned as he complained about how forgetful and late Kakashi was, always forgetting the most important things. Kakashi sheepishly smiled as he asked again what they were last doing. Sasuke replied, you were teaching us how to walk on water. Remember? The Jounin slowly nodded as he asked what time they were going to meet today, however both boys agreed that they couldn't do it today. Sasuke argued that he hadn't learned to rotate his leaf whilst it was stuck on his forehead and Naruto just wanted to laze about for a day. Kakashi nodded as he bid the boys farewell and left to meet with the Hokage for a mission report, whatever that meant. Sasuke took a good look at the time as his eyes nearly popped out when he saw it. Dragging Naruto by the back of his shirt, Sasuke rushed to class in an effort to not be even more late. Hey Sasuke. What's the big deal? It's not like we are that late, are we? Naruto asked. Sasuke stopped to catch his breath as he turned to Naruto and managed to say we are half an hour late. Sasuke saw as Naruto's face dropped once he realized how much trouble he would get in from Iruka and the Hokage. Oh, Naruto replied, his face in shock. Half an hour Okami, Iruka was going to flatten them. Both the boys ran to their lesson and they arrived midway through Iruka's lecture toward Shikamaru, probably because he was sleeping in class. Panting, Sasuke sat down on the floor as Iruka's scowl deepened once he saw the two boys. Almost as if a monster was unleashed, the teacher turned to them, fury in his eyes. So both of you have finally decided to grace us with your presence. Only after being 37 minutes late of course. Iruka said. Sasuke and Naruto were both trying to apologize, but Iruka was having none of it. With a dangerous smile he patted both of them on their backs and ordered them to sit down. Rushing to get to their seat, Naruto gulped as he saw his teacher was waiting for them to start. Troublesome Naruto heard Shikamaru state, Iruka was now staring at the whole row. Anyway class, before I was so rudely interrupted Iruka said, turning back to the rest of the class with his lesson on history. Iruka continued along with his lecture, talking about the 5 elemental nations and where they are located. However, as Naruto was trying to listen, he was disrupted by Sakura who whispered to him. What did you do? Sasuke is never late. Before Naruto could reply, Iruka had already thrown a scrunched up ball of paper at the pink-haired girl and was now staring at her with killing intent. The girl turned around and apologized, leading Iruka to continue with his lesson. Ahem, as I was saying. The last war Konohagakure has taken a part of was the Third Shinobi Great War. Can anyone tell me who our greatest enemy was in this conflict and what land they come from? Kiba raised his hand as he answered the village of Stupid Rocks right. And we totally kicked them. Asuka shook his head as he replied no, that's not a Kiba. However, you are on the right track. Anyone want to give Kiba a helping hand? The blonde girl sitting next to Sakura raised her hand as he answered the village hidden in the rocks, also known as Iwagakure is located in the land of Earth. Iruka nodded as he continued on with the lesson, discussing the major battles fought in the war. He then asked the class who was the key player in the Battle of Kanabi Bridge. Naruto raised his hand as he answered Namikaze Minato, also known as the 4th Hokage. Iruka smiled at his student as he nodded his head. Yes, Naruto is right. The Yondaime Hokage had a mission which was to destroy this bridge. This bridge was instrumental in the turning of the tide for the entire war. Iwagakure had lost its main supply route and as such Konoha had gained a massive advantage. Before Iruka could move on, a boy sitting near the back said loudly well if he was so strong, why did he die a week before the Kyuubi? The class fell silent and even Iruka was lost for words. Take that back. Right now. Naruto screamed at him. The boy scoffed at Naruto challenging him. Oh? And why should I? What are you going to do about it, fail to hit me? Iruka wasn't fast enough as Naruto leapt on the boy and started to punch him, not stopping even while Iruka tried to pull him off. The boy's two friends quickly came to aid him but were stopped by Iruka, leading them to taunt Naruto. Oh look, the idiot is just as weak as the 4th. Not even Iruka could contain Naruto as he broke free from his grip and ran at the two boys prepared to fight them as well. Take that back. He said while pummeling them, meanwhile the class watched. The second boy tried to throw his chair at Naruto, but missed. Hitting a girl behind him who screamed in pain. Iruka rushed to her side to see if she was okay before Sasuke ran in and held Naruto back. Sasuke turned to the boys as he said oi, won't you shut up already? The 4th Hokage is a better ninja than any ninja that will come from your family, so just be quiet. He wasn't going to allow his only friend to fight those wasting fresh air. However, one with brown hair cowled at him as he replied angrily oh look, here comes Sasuke. You know maybe you're just a flop like Naruto, since he's your friend. And that's why you aren't as good as the rest of your family. That's what my mum said. Sasuke let go of Naruto as he himself was now angry. Oh? Sasuke mocked. The fight was over quickly as Sasuke used his taijutsu to fight them, throwing perfect punches and kicks to their heads, while Naruto took a more simple approach of punching them in the face, really hard. However, this was all stopped when Iruka with all of his force separated the boys. Naruto was still angry as he tried to escape but found he couldn't. Calm down. All of you, just calm down. Fighting between allies does not solve anything. However, I'm disappointed in you Naruto. Iruka said, stopping the fight. Confused, Naruto looked towards his teacher who was staring at him, his eyes were low. Not only did this escalate because you threw the first punch, but you even got your friend involved. Not to mention you hurt your classmate who now has to go to the hospital. As for you and Sasuke, you will stay after school, we are going to the Hokage's office. Iruka lectured the blonde boy. Naruto looked around and he saw the rest of the class was staring at him, mostly scared. As if he was a monster. Like the Kyuubi Naruto thought. Naruto and Sasuke both sat down in their usual seats, however Naruto was more sad than Sasuke, who held his head high. Both were aware of the looks that they were getting from the majority of the class. Class continued without any more drama, however no one noticed Naruto's face. If they had, they might have seen a few tears during some points. Am I a monster? Naruto thought to himself. So, let me get this straight, Iruka. Both Naruto and Sasuke instigated a fight in class. Hiruzen said while sitting at his desk, mountains of paperwork beside him. Now is not the day for this. Well, I guess no day is the correct day for this, Hiruzen thought to himself. He was already behind as it was. Iruka nodded as he stood behind the two boys. Naruto had a deflated look in his eyes, while Sasuke was bored. Iruka, may I ask the boys why did this fight start? Hiruzen asked. Sasuke spoke up first, confident as he replied, well, or third, I was merely trying to break up the fight when those boys insulted me. And I will not stand for it. Hiruzen sighed as he replied, well, Sasuke, will you fight me if I insulted you? Sasuke shook his head. Then why did you really fight those boys? Was it because your friend was involved? Hiruzen asked with a grin. He had caught Sasuke out. Sasuke tried to refuse, but Hiruzen was having none of it. Sasuke, there is nothing wrong with helping a friend. However, there is a time and a place, and that certainly was not in the classroom. Hiruzen then turned to Naruto, and you, Naruto? Why did you feel the need to start it? Naruto didn't reply as he was staring at the ground. Hiruzen frowned as he asked again, Naruto. The blonde boy lifted up his head as he quietly replied, am I a monster? Iruka's mouth dropped as he heard what his student said and looked away guiltily. Sasuke looked at him confused. Naruto, you're not a monster. How could you ever be a monster? Tears started to form in Naruto's eyes, and Sasuke tried his best to get rid of those tears. Shaking him hard, Sasuke cried out, what are you talking about being a monster? Have you lost your mind? Hiruzen dropped his pipe as he ordered Sasuke and Iruka to leave the room. I guess it's time, he thought to himself, his eyes slowly trailing a certain photo by his desk. So you think you're a monster? Why? Hiruzen said as soon as the door closed. Naruto's head was still glued to the floor as he mumbled out something too low for the Hokage to hear. Speak louder, Naruto, Hiruzen replied. The boy paused as he said angrily, I said I'm a monster because of the Kyuubi. Whatever I do, people are afraid of me, even if they really hurt me. And I can't do anything about it. Hiruzen nodded as he responded, oh right, I forgot you knew about the truth. Well, what can I say, your father was one of the smartest shinobi I ever had the chance of meeting. That book really goes into depth, doesn't it? Naruto's head immediately shot up as he replied, you knew? Hiruzen gave a hearty laugh, of course I did, how would I not? I'm the Hokage, after all. You knew? Naruto said again, this time with anger. Hiruzen nodded as he stood up and walked towards the boy. Yes, and I know that your father died protecting you. Your father and your mother, so why would you disrespect them by doing this? Naruto began to cry as he responded, why? Why? Why aren't my parents here, huh? Come on, Gramps, tell me why. Oh wait, it's because they are dead. And no one even knows it, but if they did, would they treat me differently? Do you want people to know it? Hiruzen asked. Naruto shook his head as he tried and failed to stop his tears. Naruto, your father was and still is one of the best men I ever had the pleasure of knowing. Not only was he honorable, having a strong moral code for a ninja, but he also loved his family more than anything. He and Kushina would not want to hear that their son was causing fights over something as small as this. You know the truth, and when you're older you can tell your friends, the ones closest to you, about the truth. Hiruzen said. He hugged Naruto as he told him it was okay to cry. Gramps, am I the Kentucky Kyuubi? Naruto asked. That was the question he was dying to hear the answer for. If his dad did seal the Kyuubi away, then why was he treated like trash? Like a plague. If he was a hero, then why was this happening to him? Why did he feel like a monster? Hiruzen nearly choked as he replied, no. No, you're not, you are Uzumaki Naruto, son of Uzumaki Kushina and Namikaze Minato. A monster like the Kyuubi wants to only destroy, however you are not the Kyuubi. Naruto looked up at him as Hiruzen continued, you might have it within you, however you are the only one to control it. To eventually work with it and protect your friends and family, to protect the village you love. That's why your father must have put the Kyuubi in you, because he believed in you. Because we all believe in you, Naruto. Ooh, but why? Why did they have to die? Why am I alone? Naruto said, saddened. Each time he saw his classmates with their parents, he felt a pang of guilt because he was jealous of them. All of them. Hiruzen scoffed at that remark as he replied, alone? You will never be alone. You have me, Iruka, Sasuke, Kakashi and many more. I do? You guys don't hate me? Naruto asked, surprised, but inside he knew the truth. He wasn't alone, not now and not ever. Well, he didn't have his parents, he had something that was arguably even better. He had friends, ones that will always stay with him. Friends that his parents would have been happy to meet. Hiruzen shook his head as he responded, as long as you continue to be you Naruto, you will never truly be alone. As long as you don't give up being yourself. As long as you don't give in to the hate surrounding you. Even if you don't believe in yourself, believe in us who will constantly believe in you. Naruto made a funny face, even with the tears streaming down his face. But Gramps, that doesn't make sense, does it? He muttered, confused as to what the old man meant. Hiruzen gave a small grin to the boy as he ruffled his hair. Maybe not to you, but to your parents, me and many more, it makes perfect sense. Don't give up, I thought you wanted to be the Hokage. Hiruzen asked. Naruto nodded at the aged Hokage. Giving up was not on the table for him, he would be Hokage one day, he would make the village respect him, he would surpass his father. I still do, Gramps, Naruto answered confidently. He was going to make his dream come true. Hiruzen smiled as he asked Naruto to bring Sasuke in. Naruto left as he saw his friend and gave him a thumbs up. Sasuke has to know about the truth, but I'll tell him later, Naruto decided. He was afraid that his only friend would shun him. His best friend. And he didn't want to be alone, not again, so if it meant keeping secrets he was fine with it. Gramps wants to speak to you, and don't worry, I'm better now. Naruto said to his friend, grinning. Sasuke matched his grin as he lightly hit him on the back of Naruto's head. Oh, I know, dope, just making sure you understand it, even with your thick head. Sasuke replied. Naruto watched as his friend entered the office with a grin, and when he was certain nobody was watching, he skipped down the stairs with the largest smile he could muster. You hear the Kyuubi? Even with you I still have a good life. He thought to the monster sealed within him. Well, maybe not a monster, the Kyuubi did speak to him after all, and while it was not pleasant, it was fun sometimes, hearing him speak about murdering people. However, Naruto's fun evaporated as he entered the reception area and saw Iruka-sensei being lectured by a woman. No, so you mean to tell me that you are punishing my son for helping a friend? I thought at least an instructor who teaches my son would treat my son and Uchiha with some respect, she screamed at Iruka, who was trying to save face by constantly apologizing. I'm sorry, Mrs. Uchiha. Honestly, it was out of my hands. Your son, Sasuke, really hurt two students in his class, which counts a major incident, one which must be reported to the Hokage immediately as it concerns more than a singular person. Iruka explained, his voice was somewhat higher pitched than normal. She furiously snapped back, well, I'm his mother, I'm sure my husband and I can give a more suitable punishment to an Uchiha than you can. Whoa. Is that Sasuke's mom? She's kinda scary. Naruto thought as he tried to cover his face with his oversized white t-shirt with an orange swirl in the middle. It was a nice top that he liked to wear most of the time. Not that he cared about fashion, he just liked what he thought looked cool. Naruto tried to walk by his teacher and best friend's mother, but a hand grabbed the back off his shirt and pulled him back, making Naruto drop the act. As Naruto turned around annoyed as he saw Sasuke's older brother, Itachi, holding him back. Oh, it's Sasuke's brother. Naruto thought, annoyed that he was caught. This was not a conversation that he wanted to happen, not now and not ever. So Naruto, what happened? Itachi asked, as calm as ever. Sasuke's mom stopped shouting at Iruka, as with her fury she turned to Naruto. The boy in question gulped as he prayed to Kami, or just anyone who was listening, that he would live. He had heard that mothers were scary, and only now was he starting to believe it. However, instead of the wrath from Sasuke's mom which he was expecting, he was greeted with a friendly smile and a handshake. So this is the Naruto which Sasuke keeps talking about. Nice to meet you. She said while shaking his hand. Huh? Naruto thought as he was just standing there in shock. Sasuke's mom is nice to me? He thought, trying not to smile. Itachi spoke up as he added politely, I believe what mother is trying to say is what happened. I'm furious at myself that some boys dared to even fight my brother, not to mention his friend. So please, tell us. His mother snapped at him for being impatient and rude in public, something Naruto did not understand, but his mom did know him better than him still. It nearly made him grin as he saw Itachi scowling for a split second before putting on his usual passive face. Naruto looked at Iruka, who was sighing in relief for being ignored for the time being. Oh, we were learning about Namikaze Minato, the fourth Hokage, and some boy called him weak for dying during the Kyuubi attack nearly 7 years ago. I got angry and Sasuke defended me once they called him dumb for being my friend. That's it, I think. Naruto explained. Before Itachi could speak, Mikito got even angrier as she turned to Iruka-sensei and started to shout at him for not protecting his students, her son, in what should be a safe environment. Oh well, it's my fault. Naruto said, quiet enough for them to hear. Mikoto stopped her rant at the teacher and looked at him confused. Well, I got angry at a stupid comment and disrupted the class. I did something wrong and I apologize, Iruka-sensei, I was a bad student today. I promise it won't happen again. Naruto apologized, causing Mikoto to hug Naruto, something which stunned him momentarily. "It's not your fault," she said plainly, patting his back. "It was never your fault, so don't go blaming pointless things on yourself, okay? I guess this is the first hug from another girl which I can remember," he thought to himself, smiling at the notion. "Well, apart from my mum, I bet she gave the best hugs." As Mikito detached from Naruto's body, she looked ready to storm the Hokage's office and give the man a piece of her mind. "But why? Why did that comment get you so riled up?" Haruka asked. Naruto scratched his head. "Oh crap, I can't explain myself properly or else I'll be caught out." He thought to himself, his lies had always done the opposite. Tell the truth, which was an annoying skill. It meant that he would always get into heaps of trouble after being caught doing pranks. Before he could formulate a reply, Itachi came to his defense as he argued anyone should be riled up at any slander directed to the fourth Hokage, who was a hero to all Hidden Leaf citizens. However, Naruto was soon dragged away by the older brother of his friend, saying that they were going to get food once Naruto's stomach began rumbling midway between his argument. As they left, instead of going right to the center of Konoha where most of the restaurants are, they took a hard left. Itachi led him to a secluded spot as he said, "Sasuke could have been hurt, do you really regret what happened?" Naruto blinked. He blinked again and again as he processed what Itachi just said. Naruto nodded. How could he not? He got his friend into trouble for something that was pointless. "Would you promise me to keep my brother out of danger?" Itachi asked sharply. Naruto nodded as he replied, "Of course. He's my best friend, but why is something happening?" Itachi merely smiled at him softly. As he responded, "I'm not always going to be around. So is his older brother. It makes me happy to hear he has such a great friend. Thank you, Naruto." Naruto gave Itachi a thumbs up as he said, "I'll help Sasuke, even if it cost me my life. You can count on me, Itachi." Itachi nodded as he replied, "I'm counting on you then. Remember, this conversation never happened. We just got food, okay?" Naruto gave a flashy grin. "Okay." He responded. Naruto invited all three Uchihas to his place, and as they entered, Mikoto's smile left her face. "Naruto, you live here?" Mikoto asked. Naruto smiled as he glanced at his living room. It seemed normal to him. "Naruto, there are countless unclean plates and bowls lying around the place, lots of dust, which makes me ask, do you know how to clean? Not to also mention the fact that your fridge door is open and there is spilt milk around the floor everywhere," said the mother. "Well, a cleaner used to come," Naruto answered truthfully. It was a long time ago, like nearly 2 years ago now. When he had first moved in here, he needed help a lot of the time. Sasuke asked what happened to her, and Naruto replied, "Well, the people who live opposite me in that building over there put her in hospital once, so she doesn't come around anymore. In fact, she told me to pretend like she never knew me." Sasuke frowned even more as he could not understand why people treated his friend cruelly. "But Naruto, why?" Sasuke asked, confused. Naruto took a glimpse and saw that Mikito was staring at the mess, however Itachi was staring directly at him waiting for an answer. "Oh well, I can't say." Naruto answered anxiously, this wasn't a conversation he was comfortable with. Sasuke replied, "No, tell me the truth, aren't we friends? Friends don't lie, do they, mum?" Mikito patted her youngest son as she replied, "Yes, Sasuke, friends don't lie, however if they don't feel comfortable with sharing something, then you must be respectful. Or else, you will lose that friend. You don't want to lose Naruto, do you?" Sasuke shook his head. "Naruto, do you know why?" Sasuke asked his friend, "You don't have to tell me now if you want, but promise you will tell me in the future." "Okay." Sasuke said with a smile. "Maybe I should say. But what if he stops being my friend? Or maybe he will tell everyone else in class that don't know." Naruto thought, looking at his friend conflicted. Itachi raised a hand on Sasuke's shoulder as he said, "Sasuke, your friend isn't ready to talk about it. Drop it." "Not ready to talk about it?" Naruto thought to himself. "But brother, I want to help him." Sasuke defended himself. Itachi raised his eyebrows as he replied, "You can't help someone who hasn't asked for it, Sasuke, maybe some other time you will learn the truth." Sasuke pouted as he crossed his arms and stepped away from his brother. "But that's what you always say to me. Maybe some other time. But Naruto isn't like you, so maybe he doesn't know how to say." Their mother interrupted them as she snapped, "Enough. Both of you, we are guests at someone else's house. Behave yourselves or else your father will catch wind of this." Both boys apologized to Naruto and their mother. No, it's fine. I don't mind. And you're right, Sasuke, I am holding something dangerous inside of me. That's why people treat me differently," Naruto said, looking down on the floor in agony. It was hard for him to admit this. But that people thought of him as a freak. Mikoto's eyes widened as she realized that if he meant what he just said, that meant he knew the truth despite the decree passed years ago. An S-class secret, broken, something that would make the third Hokage angry at the populace. Itachi's face remained impassive, however Naruto could see in his eyes that he was intrigued as to what Naruto knew the extent of the truth. It doesn't matter, Sasuke is going to find out anyway. And I don't want to lie to him anymore, Naruto thought to himself. The truth is, Sasuke, that the Kyuubi which attacked 6 years ago is sealed inside of me. Naruto said, closing his eyes. Come on Sasuke, please still be my friend. Naruto thought to himself, pleading that the one friend he had wouldn't be taken away. Huh? Sasuke said. Naruto opened his eyes as he saw his friend scratching his head, confused. So why would they treat you differently? Sasuke asked, confused as to how that was an answer. Well, what do you mean, Sasuke? The blonde boy replied, as if his world was shattered. Well, it's obvious that you are not the Kyuubi, as you would be a monster and not the dumb person right now. So why would they treat you differently? That's stupid, very stupid. Sasuke said as if it was fact. But they are all afraid of me, aren't you? Naruto asked. The black-haired boy shrugged his shoulders as he replied, no, why would I, unless you randomly turn into the Kyuubi, you're my friend. And even if you turn into it, I'll still be your friend. Wasn't that obvious? Mikito wrapped her right arm around Sasuke as she added, it shouldn't be a problem, Naruto, after all you might have it inside you, but that doesn't mean that you are the monster. You are merely keeping it in check, like a prison warden. Naruto didn't realize he was crying until he felt the tears coming down his cheeks. People really accepted him. The third Hokage was right, and so was his father. People really did believe in him. Thank you. Thank you. Naruto said while wiping his tears away. Mikito threw another arm around him and pulled him close. You don't need to cry, Naruto, it's okay. We aren't pulling a prank on you, as if your mother would allow me to pull it off anyway. Naruto glanced up at her as he asked, you knew my mum? She nodded as she replied, knew her? She was practically my best friend before she died. Itachi nodded as he added, yes, Uzumaki Kushina. She was lovely. Naruto stared at Itachi with his mouth wide open. He knew my mum? He thought. Oh yes, I know about your parentage. I met your mother once while she was pregnant with you. She was very nice and had long red hair, she also gave me strawberry-flavored ice cream. It was nice, Itachi said. Naruto looked at him like a fish out of water. Naruto, not only was I a member of Anbu at the age of 11, I know many things that I shouldn't. Itachi added. Before Naruto could reply, Mikito changed the conversation completely as she ordered Itachi and Sasuke to go find cleaning supplies while she and Naruto helped to set up the table for food. Naruto grinned as in half an hour the kitchen was cleaned and they were sitting down waiting to eat their food. So Itachi, what did you and Naruto buy for us to eat? Itachi gave a small smile as he replied, ramen. Mikito blinked. And then she blinked again. And again. Itachi, ramen? She said, confused. The older boy nodded as he replied, that's what Naruto insisted, plus it was the only thing we could get without being thrown out. So mother, what flavor would you like, miso or shio? It was a long day for Naruto. Firstly, he apologized to the classmates he beat up. The one who jumped at first, Soma, had completely dropped out of the school once his parents found out what happened, so he couldn't apologize to him. He apologized to his two friends, but Sasuke had already done it, so his words were practically meaningless for them, but to him it didn't matter. He truly was sorry, and he wasn't going to lose his temper like that again. Before class began, he and Sasuke also apologized to Iruka-sensei and to the whole class for disturbing the lesson. Iruka smiled as he forgave the boys and let them go, however some were not willing to do so. Mainly a pink-haired girl. So Naruto Baka. Decided you would try to corrupt my sweet innocent Sasuke. Well, I for one won't. Why did you hit me? Her blonde friend replied, well, first of all, he isn't your sweet innocent Sasuke. He's mine, so back off. Naruto glanced at Sasuke, who was silently raging on the inside, and Naruto laughed a little. Well, look at that, Sasuke, you have a fan club. Both girls stopped bickering with each other as they started glaring dagger at the blonde boy, who started to regret everything he said. Behind him, a shy voice said, we will I for on one act accept your apology na Naruto-kun, said Hinata, who was as red as a tomato. Naruto turned around and gave her a thumbs up as he replied, thanks Hinata. I'm sorry that it was you who saw me the closest when I was angry, I promise you that won't happen again. He said with a smile directed at her, which seemed to almost make her faint. Iruka coughed loudly, and most conversations were cut short, the only ones that were remaining were through whispers. Okay class, today we shall be discussing our dreams for the future. Now this might seem out of place from what we have been learning, however this is important as the Hokage which we were learning about also had dreams of their own once. Kiba put his hand up as he asked Iruka-sensei, what does this have to do with controlling leaves on our foreheads? Iruka frowned as he responded to his student, now, Kiba, don't interrupt me while I'm speaking. Anyway, as I was saying, this also links to yesterday's exercise of rotating the leaf which not many of you could do. Today you will reaffirm what you would like to achieve in the future as a shinobi, and this will help you for the rest of the time at the academy. Now who would like to start first? Shikamaru. The boy groaned as he stared at his teacher, who glared daggers right at him. Oh fine, this is such a drag. I wish to become a mediocre chunin so I can make enough money to live but not be known or have a bounty. Is that it? Iruka nodded and the boy plopped right back down to his seat and began to fall asleep. Okay, let's see, Sakura, what about you? The pink-haired girl stood up as she started to speak but began blushing. Well, I wish to be a strong kunoichi so I can be with Sasuke, she said, whilst blushing heavily, leading to the boy to snort. The blonde girl beside her began to laugh as she proudly exclaimed, see. Even he agrees, it's going to be me. Sasuke snorted that time, which led most of the class to laugh, much to Ino's embarrassment. Ha, Ino pig, looks like I win. Sakura said with a smug look on her face, finally besting her friend. Okay Naruto. What about you? The blonde boy stood up as he looked around his class. Everyone was staring at him. He grinned as he replied, well, Iruka-sensei, I wish to Hokage, an even greater one than the Yondaime Hokage. The class was quiet for a while before some students burst out into laughter. Haha. As if you're the dumbest person here. Ah yes, with your 31% test scores you will become Hokage. Iruka silenced the class as he replied to Naruto, well, I for one believe you can do it, anyone else agree with me and Naruto? Shikamaru raised his hand as he said, well, if he said he's going to do it, he's going to try and do it. That's the type of person Naruto is, so best believe he will try to be the Hokage. Hinata nodded as she agreed, even while looking redder than normal. Yes. I agree. Choji also agreed as he put his hand up while eating his potato chips, saying Naruto likes these chips, so I think he will make a good Hokage as well. Finally Sasuke raised his hand as he said for everyone to hear, of course Naruto will become Hokage. He's got the skills for it and he can fight pretty well. So I believe in him. Iruka nodded as he added, C class. Naruto's dream isn't as far-fetched as you would believe. If he puts in the hard work, I can guarantee that he will become Hokage. Now does anyone else want to say their future goal or dream? One by one, each member of the class said, ranging from wanting to become a jonin to wanting to specialize into jutsu. Iruka smiled at his class as he thought to himself, I'm expecting great things from this class. He looked towards a smiling blonde boy sitting near the back. Especially you, Naruto. After class, Naruto followed Shikamaru and Choji as he invited them for lunch. Huh? Lunch? Sure, what could go wrong? Choji said, and his lazy friend agreed so long as it wasn't bothersome. Next up he tailed Hinata, who turned beet red as she accepted before quietly following him to get the last member. Hey Sasuke, you gonna join us for lunch? Naruto asked. His friend nodded as he gathered his stuff and left Sakura and Ino behind him, however he was not lucky enough to escape them fully. Oh, Sasuke-kun, where are you going? They asked while following him, making him scowl. Eventually they reached Naruto's favorite destination. Ichiraku's ramen. Each student occupied a seat as the apprentice red-haired chef came out smiling. So Naruto, you decided to finally bring out all your friends. Hinata blushed at the comment, while Sakura and Ino were too focused on Sasuke to reply. Choji nodded as he looked at the menu, and Shikamaru replied, heh, friends. Yeah, you could call us that, right Naruto? The blonde boy nodded with a grin as he ordered the usual for him and Sasuke, not before asking everyone else what they wanted. They each tried to pay, but the chef was having none of it. Any friend of Naruto is a friend of mine, so please no need for the money. This is all on the house today, anyway I'll get started right away. Tanjiro, the red-haired chef said as he got to work. Naruto looked around at his classmates as he smiled even harder. Life was good. And he hoped it would never change. It was a long day for Haruno Kazashi. Not only was it taxing on his back, which was already injured, but also his mental health. No one said being a merchant was easy, especially in the ninja world. Especially if you were a ninja that was forced to retire. Kazashi knew the ins and outs of all the work ninjas were forced to do. Political assassinations, sabotage and spying were all common things. Hell, as a shinobi he participated in his fair share of many similar missions for his village, Konohagakure. His home. Oh how he loved it, every last nook and cranny of it. The breath of fresh air every morning while going on a jog, the air blowing through the luscious leaves, the laughter of children throughout the town. Everyone he met had a story, and each possessed the will of fire. The desire to protect the hidden leaf and its inhabitants. That's the reason why he became a chunin. To protect it all. However, not all is as perfect as it would seem. No, Kazashi knew that. From personal experience. War was a nasty place. A breeding for every negative emotion any human could muster, friends and even family, would lay waste in a meaningless battle directed by those in charge. Like mere puppets. Only the puppets could manipulate chakra, hold weapons and had feelings buried deep within. Feelings they were forced to swallow, or else the war would swallow them. Kazashi growled as he lost track of what he was doing, gripping the handle of his mug so hard it broke. Another mug. Mabuki gifted this to me for our anniversary. Shit. Mabuki was his saving grace. His wife, with all her anger problems, her shoulder-length blonde hair, green eyes and smile, was the only reason he kept on moving. And then came his little angel, his one and only child. Sakura. Oh, how he loved her as a child, always trying to copy her parents. He didn't experience true joy until he heard his daughter was interested in becoming a ninja. If he couldn't protect his village anymore, then the will of fire could be passed on to his daughter. Instead, what happened was even more tragic on his eyes. He saw as his little princess grew into what he saw before him right now from outside his small little shop. A sight sore for the eyes as his angel turned into something completely different. She was growling, biting and screaming at Ino, her friend. All the while both girls were fighting for attention from a mere boy. Granted, he was an Uchiha and they were powerful. But a boy nonetheless. One who wasn't even looking in his baby's face as she clung to his arm so hard Kazashi was surprised it had not snapped yet. Back of Ino pig. Sasuke is mine. His daughter screamed. Ino shook her head as she replied Nuon. Sasuke is mine, forehead. He rubbed his eyes as he saw the scene unfold upon his very eyes. Oh, how it pained him to see that his daughter was protecting a boy who hadn't even looked at her, protecting him fiercer than the ninjas protecting their village. Why couldn't she protect the leaf, huh? He thought to himself. Some days he wished his daughter would drop out, at least it would be less painful than for her to graduate and become a genin for the rest of her life. Kazashi watched as an amused blonde boy broke up the two girls from fighting and took the boy away to eat ramen. Both girls watched as their faces twisted into rage, demanding that Naruto bring back their Sasuke-kun. All in all, it was a pathetic showing that made Kazashi grit his teeth. He would have words with his daughter the next time he saw her and that Sasuke kid. It would be best if he didn't get any ideas, especially if it was regarding his daughter. If that kid took advantage of her. Kami helped the Uchiha boy. It's interesting, isn't it, Kazashi, my boy? Said a voice. Kazashi turned to face a customer and was greeted with an old man with bandages wrapped around his right side of his face. Kazashi bowed as he quickly said Danzo-sama. Danzo smiled as he ordered Kazashi to stand tall. After all, how many years has it been since we last met? 10. 15. Kazashi grinned as he replied, since I was forced to retire. 13 years ago if I am not mistaken. The elder nodded as he picked up a pot that had a flowery design. After retiring, Kazashi and his wife opened up a general store. Everything was sold here, from food to pots and pans. How much is this? Danzo asked. Normally it would be 2,000 ryo, but for you it's for free. Kazashi answered. The elder man laughed. For free? I surely hope this isn't because I was your boss. Kazashi shook his head. Well, officially it was known that Haruno Kazashi, a chunin, lost the ability to perform hand signs due to the tremendous stress it provided after a nasty injury. Unofficially, Haruno Kazashi was tortured for days on end by a Wagakure for being a spy, eventually losing the ability to perform simple tasks without heavy strain from his body. The spy sent by Danzo. The spy that worked to support Konoha in the shadows. Haruno Kazashi was an ex-member of Root. That was the undeniable truth. Which only a few people knew of. No sir, I would never dream of it. However, it wouldn't be good for business if I took money from you, a village elder. People would call me greedy and my store would shut down, meaning I wouldn't be able to help Konoha with simple things like food or as you are holding a pot. Danzo smirked as he replied, oh. Still haven't given up on your dedication to Konoha. The man shook his head as he brushed his mustache. I would never dream of it, sir. After all, you helped me realize my dream of protecting this village, didn't you? Danzo merely nodded as he handed the shopkeeper the pot. The room grew colder as soon as Danzo passed the pot to Kazashi. My boy, I have a favor I must ask of you. It is highly important. Kazashi nodded as he asked what it was. Tonight I fear something is going down, something highly dangerous that will threaten all of Konoha. As an ex-member of Root, I can only trust you as I fear some of my own men have turned against me. The roots that support the tree have rotted. Kazashi muttered, those bastards. Have you dealt with them yet, Danzo-sama? The elder shook his head in defeat. Grrrr. How dare they? Alas Kazashi, I can only entrust this task to you. Some rebel activity is meant to be gathering tonight at the Uchiha compound. One of my most trusted men has been assigned to dispatch any of the rebels should they appear to be hostile. All I request is for you to look inside the compound to ensure my man has not been killed or that anything else has happened. An insurance policy if you will, nothing more than a quick look. Kazashi nodded as he asked, and then report back to you? Yes, after that you should report back to me immediately. Have no fear Kazashi, there is no danger involved here. All I am asking is a quick look into the compound, after all, why wouldn't a father talk to the boy who has hurt his daughter's feelings? Ah. An inside route in case I'm seen. Leave it to Danzo-sama to take precautions to ensure I'm not caught. Kazashi nodded as he accepted this mission. He would protect the leaf, even when not being on active duty as a ninja. Thank you Kazashi. Hopefully on day your daughter, Sakura, will inherit the same will of fire I have and the same that you have. Kazashi beamed at the elder as he replied. Oh sir, I wish that was the case. Danzo smiled as he left the shop saying oh you never know about the future Kazashi, your daughter may turn into a fine kunoichi for the leaf. Kazashi waved goodbye to the village elder as he thought to himself. Maybe one day she will, the man thought. He quickly regained his focus as his daughter came into the shop with a pout. Hey dad. After taking one look at her he could see the dedication in his daughter's eyes. If a bit misplaced, the dedication was there. You know Sakura, to get the attention of Susumu was it? Sakura rolled her eyes as she replied annoyed Sasuke dad. It's Sasuke geez what is this the millionth time? Kazashi grinned at his daughter as he replied well I'm rather old aren't I? It's not like I can remember names easily, anyway, as I was saying you're going about grabbing the boy's attention the wrong way. Her eyes snapped towards him as she was listening intently. Fish, line and hook. Easy. Well, if you become an impressive kunoichi then he will have to respect you, am I right or wrong? His daughter flashed a matching grin as she nodded. Dad, why can't you always act like this? She asked her father. Kazashi stuttered a little bit before replying what do you mean? I always act like this. You just never listen to me. Sakura laughed as she shook her head. That's not true, I always listen to you. Kazashi raised his brow as his daughter glared at him. Bei-chan. The pink-haired girl complained as she protested oh come on. I do listen dad. Bei-chan nnn. They both stared at each other, neither one blinking before both dissolved into laughter. May she always stay like this? Kazashi thought as he chucked a chocolate bar at his daughter. Beat, after all to be a strong kunoichi one must have muscle. And with your wimpy arms, I'd wager you wouldn't pass the genin exams. Growling, Sakura shouted, but I'm 7 how can I pass those exams? Kazashi pointed at the bar he gave her as he replied first of all by eating that. What he expected was for his daughter to eat the bar, maybe share half of it. No, instead she chucked the bar directly at him, forcing him to move out of the way as she bellowed. I won't eat your silly bar dad. Never in a million years. Now unless you want to help me with training I'm going home. Kazashi burst into more laughter despite the predicament he was in. Oh Sakura, you sometimes forgot who you are talking to aren't you? He said quietly causing he to gulp. 100 push-ups and sit-ups in front of me by this hour or else. He watched as his daughter moaned as she got on the floor and started to work out. You're doing it all wrong Sakura. You are meant to sit up, not raise your knees. Oh come on Sasuke. Naruto complained. You do this every time, first you eat ramen with me and then when I ask let's do training you all you do is blow it off. I thought you were the best in the class. Sasuke raised his brow as he looked at his friend. It had nearly been a year since that fateful race against each other towards the classroom. Oh come of it Naruto, from all the training you do outside the academy, I'm surprised people still underestimate you. Naruto grinned as he replied well why wouldn't they? I'm a dope after all, aren't I? Sasuke shook his head as he pointed his chopsticks towards the blonde boy. No, you pretend to be a dope I just play my part when it comes to your act. Honestly, are you trying to fool the whole village or what? The other boy nodded as he responded with a gesture on his right hand, only after did both the boys start laughing uncontrollably. Come on Sasuke, I'm trying to learn some cool jutsu. Sasuke scoffed as he asked what jutsu? Maybe it's one where you can summon ramen. Naruto shook his head as he answered huh. Hell no. I'm learning a super cool jutsu that allows me to substitute myself for a log in a fight. Imagine one day we are sparring and you use your Ithinji against me and it turns out I'm a log. Sasuke laughed as he said a log. Interesting, I'll ask Itachi next time I see him. It was still daylight as the boys left the ramen shop and walked around the village. Today school was cancelled due to some unforeseen circumstances, but that didn't stop Naruto joining Sasuke on his adventure, as the blonde boy frequently said. So Sasuke how about Jujutsu sparring? No. Naruto moaned as he pulled his hair angrily. Okay. How about some Genjutsu training? Sasuke mocked thinking for a moment which caused a spark to light up inside his friend. No. The blonde boy's face dropped as he replied Kenjutsu. Sasuke shook his head as his friend kept on complaining. Jesh Sasuke, are you sure you aren't Shikamaru in disguise? Sasuke snapped back yes, now shut up. You getting on my nerves, he turned to face his friend directly in his eyes. You wouldn't want me to be annoyed would you, Naruto? The blonde boy stared for a moment. PFFFFFFF. Oh no, he's going to do that thing again. Fa. Naruto fell on the floor as he cried with laughter. You. You. Naruto immediately stopped laughing when Sasuke smacked the back of his head with a feral grin. Remember dope, I'm the captain here. You are just entertainment for me. Naruto cut him off with an even bigger smack, causing Sasuke to fall to the ground clutching his head. You're what now? I'm sorry, I think I heard weakling, am I right? Sasuke growled as he stood up wiping the dirt from his clothes. I'll get you back for that, Naruto. When you least expect it, I will strike and make sure you taste all the power that has been passed down through the Uchihas. That will be a sufficient apology for this grave insult. Sasuke stopped talking as he realized Naruto was not listening. No, instead the blonde boy was talking to a classmate of theirs. She had short dark blue hair and was very red while talking to an excited Naruto. Hey Hinata. Fancy seeing you here. Since Sasuke is going on one of his stupid rants, want to train? I have a cool new technique. Naruto trailed on as the Hyuga girl smiled, with a small interval of her nodding her head politely. To some it might have been cute, but to Sasuke it was material. Material for the future as he rubbed his hands together with a massive grin on his face. So this cool jutsu I've been working on allows me to substitute my body with a log when I'm hit. The next thing Naruto knew was the ground as Sasuke slapped the back of his head with even greater force than before. Such a cool jutsu, Naruto. Why couldn't you use it now? Sasuke said while trying not to laugh. The blonde boy sat up with a grin as he replied, how much force did you put into that? Let's go to the hospital, you might have hurt your hand after all, you are a weakling aren't you? Sasuke in response put out his tongue as he replied, is that the only thing you came up with? Sasuke then waved at Hinata, who was torn between being concerned for Naruto and laughing at the boy's antics. Hey Hinata. Don't mind stupid over here, he just thought he could take me on in a fight Sasuke said as Naruto tackled his friend into the dirt. At this point Hinata giggled as she saw how the two friends rolled around on the floor fighting each other. All before a man wearing a Jonin uniform had his reading session interrupted when he had to jump to avoid them. Ma Naruto. You should learn to be more considerate, you as well Sasuke. Some of us are just trying to walk hero. That's an interesting development, the Jonin said as he flicked over the next page. Of course Kakashi is reading his weirdo books again. Sasuke thought as he got himself up from the floor. Well, wouldn't that be justice for reading in the street, Kakashi? Naruto asked. Kakashi gave what looked like a smile underneath his mask, whether it was because of the book he was reading or what Naruto said, they would never know. Do justice? The shy Hyuga asked, her hands trembling as she did, eyes glued to the floor as she refused to meet anyone's eyesight. Naruto nodded as he continued, yeah, justice. You shouldn't be reading in the middle of the street, so he deserved it. Justice. Sasuke face-palmed as he asked his friend, how is that justice? Justice would be if he burned us for making him physically jump over us for interrupting him, no. Naruto smacked his friend's back very hard as he laughed out, no Sasuke, that's murder not justice. Honestly, where do you get these ideas from? Sasuke moved to the side to avoid the next smack as he asked his friend, then what is justice to you, Naruto? Naruto beamed, as if he had been waiting his whole life to be asked this question as he answered, simple. Justice is making someone comply with Konoha's rules. Like Kakashi broke a rule while reading his book down the street. The Jonin perked up as he replied lazily, Naruto, I don't think that's a rule. Naruto shook his head as he responded, well, it is now. So what's gonna be your reply? Kakashi nodded as he flicked to the next page, pretending not to even notice what the blonde boy had just said. But Naruto. If someone hurts you, shouldn't you hurt them back? Sasuke said. Naruto nodded as he replied, well, of course. But you can't go around killing everyone for anything, maybe you can help save them or. Kakashi interrupted as he shut his book and stared directly at Naruto. That's a naive statement, Naruto. We are shinobi, well, I am anyway. You can't save everyone, sometimes what Sasuke said is the only action left. Instead of backing down, Naruto replied, well then I'll make it happen. I know what it's like losing people, so why can't I try to save as many people as I can? And I will, if I believe in myself then I know I can do it. Kakashi raised his non-hidden brow as he replied, why? Sometimes justice at the hands of a village isn't enough to satisfy people, especially ones driven by revenge. What makes you special? Naruto grinned like a Cheshire cat as he replied simply. Well, that's my nindo. My ninja way, to help anyone and everyone. Even if they hurt people, if I can make them sorry then they are better. Kakashi sighed, the real world doesn't work that way, Naruto. Then I'll make it happen when I become Hokage, believe it. Kakashi went back to reading his book as he wasn't bothered to continue the conversation. Sasuke said nothing, but deep down he felt it. He felt the passion that Naruto has about his justice. About becoming Hokage and achieving it. And the crazy thing was that Sasuke agreed with him. If anyone can achieve that goal, it's going to be Naruto. His version of justice. It sounds nice. It sounds achievable, coming from Naruto. Sasuke was pulled out of his thoughts as Hinata said to Kakashi. Well, I believe in him. Naruto will do it, he always says things and does them. She said, surprising Sasuke as she didn't stutter once and she looked normal for once. Turning to Sasuke she continued, and Sasuke agrees with me, don't you? Sasuke blanked as he panicked to respond. Well, what? Kakashi looked up from his book as he stared at the young Uchiha boy. Oh crap. He is staring at me. What to do? Sasuke breathed as he tried to find the words to say, but could only manage a HN. See Naruto? Even your friend disagrees with you. Kakashi was cut off by a smiling Naruto who simply said, then I'll change both him and you. Kakashi ruffled the blonde boy's head as he replied, yeah, good luck with it my cute little academy student. Maybe when you're older you can make that claim. Sasuke cut him off as he said, I think you can do it. Your justice sounds nice, I don't know what mine is, but I do know that if anyone can achieve what you want to achieve, it's going to be you. And as your friend I'll help you. Kakashi snorted, ma children are funny these days. I'll tell you what, once you achieve your goal Naruto with Sasuke's help, I'll buy you 2 500 ramen bowls for Michiraku's, deal? Both Naruto and Sasuke nodded at the same time as they said deal. Hinata looked at the boys before giggling as she added, and I want to help as well. So 500 for me as well. Naruto nodded and Sasuke grinned as Kakashi accepted the bets. Very well. 1,500 ramen will be guaranteed. Although I severely doubt it will happen in my lifetime, considering your test results Naruto. What is it now, 465% in a row? Stop smiling idiot, that's nothing to be proud of. Sasuke grinned as he watched Kakashi chase Naruto around like a loon, who hid behind a very red Hinata as protection. Hey Sasuke, friends don't give up on each other right? So can you help me out here? Justice? I think I know what mine is. He thought as he ran after his friend, with a great smile plastered onto his face. I'd. Can you now please train me? Said an excited Sakura. After the father and daughter spent some time closing down their shop, Kazashi took his daughter out to eat some dango, with a promise that afterwards he would teach her some skills. Now, Sakura don't be impatient, Kazashi replied. It isn't good for a ninja to be impatient. After all, in the field unless you are exceptionally strong you cannot dictate the battlefield's tempo, you just have to be patient and go with it. Sakura pouted as she played around with the food on her plate. Kazashi sighed. Fine. Let me just pay the bill and I'll show you something cool, alright. Immediately after he said that, her pout disappeared and was placed with a cheeky grin. Oh. She thought that she could get one over me huh? Kazashi thought to himself. Actually Sakura, on second thoughts this dango is quite good. It would be a shame if I let it go to waste right? Kazashi said while trying not to laugh at his daughter's expression. All the energy she had before was zapped out of her as she laid her head down on the table with a groan. Deciding he was done, he quickly called the waiter and paid the bill, leading his daughter outside he asked her, so what now Sakura? Sakura's reaction was priceless as the smile she was hiding from her father disappeared, instead what had taken over was a mask of rage. She was shouting at her father, who couldn't help but smile throughout the whole thing. Are you done now? You know if you had said nothing, your training would have started. Instead of using her voice, she started to use her eyes as a means of warfare against her father, but failed as he brought her in for a hug. No dad I'm not for. Don't hug me. She yelled as she tried to escape his grasp, but found she couldn't. Oh? Is that because you want Asuma to hug you? He teased. Sakura turned beet red as she hit him but missed each punch. Pathetic, for my daughter no less. Say you want Asuma, but how are you going to defend him when your punches can't even connect with an old man? He managed to say in between laughing. It's Sasuke. Not Sasu ma. She screamed at him causing him to laugh even harder. Oh I get it now. Suzaku. Nice name, don't you think Sakura? He replied with a grin as his daughter still attempted to hit him. Cute. But if her punches had more power, they would be deadly. Okay. I've had enough now. Let's go to the river and I'll teach you a new skill. Is that okay with you Sakura? The only response he got was her mumbling something that sounded like stupid daddy doesn't know any skills making him grin even further. Ooh. I wonder, how will she like me teaching her that? Or maybe this is he thought as he walked towards the river, his pink-haired daughter following behind him. In a few minutes, after a few breaks for Kazashi they eventually reached the river as Kazashi turned to his daughter with a grin. Walk he said, gesturing towards the wooden walkway that led onto the river. As she walked forward, she eventually reached the end and stood still awaiting further instructions. What now dad? She asked. Kazashi took a step onto the water and surprising his daughter he stood on it and walked over to her as if he was on solid ground. Walk. Just like me. Sakura stuttered as she dipped her left foot in and almost fell in completely. Ooh, but how? Kazashi smiled as he gave her his hand and replied, well, just pour your chakra towards your feet and walk. Feel the water, be one with the changes that disrupted and just walk, I suppose. As she grabbed onto his hands, she immediately plunged into the water when he took his hands away quickly. As she swam to the shore, she could hear her father crackling as he wiped tears from his eyes. Oh Kami, you should have seen your face, Sakura. Ha 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 ha. It was priceless. He exclaimed while pointing to the water before him. The way you just fell. Honestly, it was the funniest thing ever. Before long, another person started to laugh with him. As he turned to face them, he saw a blonde boy with whiskers laughing at his daughter, while a boy with black hair tried to hide a grin and a girl with long dark blue hair was trying to look away. So an Uchiha, a Hyuga and that boy are here. Interesting. He thought. However, his thoughts were interrupted when his daughter shouted at the boy, telling him to shut up before she would come there and make him do it. Naruto smiled as he took a step forward and managed to walk all the way over to Kazashi with a wide grin. Say what now, Sakura? You said that you would come and shut me up? He managed to say. The Uchiha threw a pebble at him behind as he started to run on the water like his friend and put up a taijutsu stance. Alright stupid, show me that cool jutsu you were talking about earlier. Sasuke said as he started to punch and kick his friend. Naruto grinned as he managed to make the tiger, boar, ox, dog and snake hand signs in rapid succession before the punch connected as he shouted loudly Kawarimi no Jutsu. Substitution Jutsu. Kazashi watched in amazement as the 7-year-old boy vanished and the Uchiha recoiled when his punch connected with a big wooden log instead. How in Kami's name does he know the substitution jutsu? At such a young age. Plus he is walking, no, he is running on water like it is nothing. This brat might actually be good. Kazashi thought as he watched the two boys spar, fascinated by every movement. Sasuke wasn't pulling his punches, in fact his whole form was impressive for a 7-year-old. However, while his taijutsu was shaky, Naruto had been successfully dodging most of his attacks, and if he could not dodge he would just substitute out of there in mere seconds. It was an impressive showing, and Sasuke had managed to create a powerful fireball jutsu that nearly burnt his friend alive. Naruto didn't feel that he had almost died as he fanboyed and asked Sasuke if he had been working on it in secret. Kazashi walked towards his daughter who was staring at the two boys fighting with a blush on her face. So? Would you like to say hi to Sasuke? He teased as his daughter tried to splash water on him. But Sasuke dad. Sasuke. And how? They can fight on water while I can barely stand. How will I be able to say hi? She replied as she stared towards the sky. You won't know until you try, Sakura. Kazashi responded as he laid down with his daughter. HN. Seems like it will be a good night to watch the stars. Maybe after I finish my errand I'll watch it with her. And then I'll discuss what type of ninja she wants to be. Sakura was having the same thoughts, despite Sasuke and Naruto's loud sparring match, that she could figure out who was winning without even watching. Hey, no fair Sasuke. We agreed no shuriken. Naruto complained as he seemingly dodged all the shuriken Sasuke threw at him. Not my fault, you might be incompetent dope, maybe if you train harder you might be able to beat me. Sasuke replied while laughing. I'm never going to be as good as them, will I? She thought to herself. You know, that's not strictly true, Kazashi said. I know you're feeling weak, like you can't do anything. But look at those boys, they are pure fighters. Unless you devote yourself for years on end then you will never be in the same class as them. But that doesn't mean you can't be in the same league as them. Sakura looked towards her father confused. Oh come off it, Sakura, use that big brain of yours. You are very book smart, yet you never use that to your advantage only to show off in class. There are many types of ninjas, you know. He said. She sat up as she asked, hey dad. Kazashi sat up as he listened to his daughter. Thanks. For everything. She said and Kazashi grinned. He ruffled her hair as he replied, everything. Well, I suppose you are underplaying my parenting skills, but I'll allow it this once. You know tonight is going to be real pretty, the stars are showing even now in daylight. Maybe you should ask Sasuke out. Sakura nodded. It would be nice if Sasuke watched the stars with her. Of course, only if I chaperone. But don't worry, I won't get in your way. Not much, that is. Sakura ripped out some grass as she threw it towards her dad. Sasuke. Sasuke. She asked as she realized what he said. Kazashi laughed as he ran towards the water and managed to keep afloat. Now. Let's get back to training. He said. Sakura stood up as she saw that Sasuke and Naruto were still sparring. Breathe. Breathe, Sakura, breathe. Just pour the chakra to your feet and try to flow like the water. She thought as she closed her eyes and tried to walk on the water. What she wasn't expecting was to trip and fall face down onto the water. Oh Sakura, maybe I should have taught you how to climb trees using chakra instead. After all, it is easier and certainly a more friendly lesson. Kazashi said while smirking. Sakura shot her head up as she angrily replied, "You think, Dad?" It was nearly nighttime as Kazashi left his house. After they had arrived home, Kazashi was chewed out by his wife for being an irresponsible father and not bringing a towel or a spare set of clothes for Sakura. Kazashi apologized to Mabuki as he hoped that he wouldn't have to sleep on the couch for a night. Unfortunately, he was sent to sleep on the couch for a week by his wife. He tried to escape it, but his fate was sealed the moment he arrived home with a grin plastered across his smug face while pointing towards their daughter. "Oh well, I just have to please her somehow. Maybe a box of her favorite chocolates." His wife was telling his daughter a story before dinner as Kazashi left to do some last-minute shopping. He hated lying to his family, but sometimes it was necessary. Well, it wasn't technically a lie after he reported to Danzo what he had observed he would do shopping. For his wife, but primarily to sleep in a warm bed tonight. However, if what Danzo said was true, he had no reason to doubt the man, then some rebellious activity that could harm the village would be gathering near the Uchiha compound. And that was more important than his small family, cause all of the village was his family. He walked towards the direction of the compound as he racked his head over what it could be. Maybe it was a gathering from people outside the village. Or people trying to steal the Sharingan, like what nearly happened with the Byakugan a year back. Either way, Kazashi hadn't felt this buzz since he was a member of Root. Before that mission. He could still feel the cold steel of a kunai be repeatedly stabbed into his hands before being nearly healed as the process went on and on. He could still feel the glares as he was plunged into a tank of water, buried underground alive, set on fire, electrocuted. Everything that would break a man, over and over again for days on end. He still remembered the feeling of death, of despair, but he never gave in. And he wouldn't turn back now either. If he did, the rebel activity could harm more people in the village, potentially his wife and daughter. And he wasn't going to let that happen. Not when he could prevent it. It seemed like an eternity, but eventually Kazashi arrived at the compound. However, what greeted him was the gate half open, with an unmistakable stench kicking against all his senses. The smell of fresh blood. Kazashi cautiously peered through the door as he saw a masked man, with some black stripes, and covering his face was an orange mask, leaving one eye hole open. He was speaking to someone as he said as expected of an Uchiha genius. The Leaf won't know what hit them, and they will never know that this all happened over orders from the village elders. How pitiful. The man said. Village elders? What the hell is going on? And where is the inside agent from Danzo? I suppose, however, this was for the benefit of the village, to prevent even more violence from within. I think that's what Danzo said, the other person said. Ah, Danzo? He can't be behind this massacre, can he? Kazashi thought. For the benefit of the Leaf, eh? What a wonderful excuse to wipe out this clan. Wouldn't you agree, Itachi? Kazashi blanked as he realized what he processed. Uchiha Itachi. He had killed his family, under orders from the village elders. Danzo, the third, Hamura and Kaharu. They were behind this. I would stop talking if I were you, Madara. The clan might not have been wiped out yet. Kazashi lost it as he leaned against the door too hard, creating a loud screech. Shit. Ah, it seems someone has overheard us, Itachi. Kill them. Kazashi tried to run as fast as he could, but his joints were aching within seconds of sprinting. Kursathesuans. Fighting with his body, Kazashi tried his hardest to run, but alas, his efforts were for naught. He achieved 10 meters away from the gate before he felt a sharp pain, and as he looked down towards his chest, he saw a sword sticking out of it covered with his warm blood. Drip. Drip. Kazashi coughed up blood as he was laid down on the floor. Kazashi turned to face his killer, but was met with a crying Uchiha. Tears were in his eyes, maybe from before, or maybe from killing Kazashi. I'm sorry. You shouldn't have been here. Forgive me, Itachi said as he left, choosing to leave the sword stuck in his body. Sasaku Sakura. Forgive me. Kazashi managed to breathe out. For what seemed like forever, Kazashi stared at the sky as he wondered what his wife and daughter were doing. Maybe they were still reading a book. Or in fact, they could be eating dinner without him. What was it again, a pie? Or maybe that was for dessert. But it all didn't matter as Kazashi looked at the beautiful night sky. Stars were dotted everywhere and Kazashi smiled as he thought to himself. Sakura would have loved to see this. Bye, Naruto. Sasuke waved at his friend. It was night already and he had spent way too much time already outside. If he spent even 10 minutes more, his father would probably kill him, revive him only to just kill him again. He kicked a stone across the road as he walked towards the direction of his home. HN. I wonder what Mum has cooked. Maybe it might cheer up Dad, he's been a bit grumpy this past week. Sasuke thought to himself. As he turned to right, what he saw surprised him. The man was lying down in front of the compound staring into the night sky. As Sasuke got closer, he nearly vomited as he realized a sword was sticking out of the man. Blood was everywhere around his torso, and the man had tears in his eyes. Sasuke ran towards him as he checked the man's pulse, but he felt nothing. He wasn't even breathing. Sasuke sat on the floor as he stared at the man. This isn't he Sakura's dad? The boy thought. However, most importantly, Sasuke realized that the sword seemed familiar. Too familiar. It looked identical to his brother's. What? The creak made Sasuke turn his head to face the compound, and his eyes widened as he saw what lay within. Bodies of his extended family lay on the ground, blood splattered all over the floor. Sasuke gulped as he jumped backwards, not wanting to go closer. But then it hit him, his family was inside. Gathering all the courage he could, he picked himself up and ran through the doors, closing his eyes as he tried to push past all the family members he saw. Tears were spilling down his face as he passed by each person he had met multiple times in his short life. Each with the same look on their face. Shock. Eventually, for what seemed like eternity, Sasuke reached his house, which had its front door open. Panting, he shouted, "Mo mother fa father." Sasuke ran inside the house and up the stairs as he opened his parents' room and vomited at the sight. His parents. They were dead. His father was facing the ceiling, while his mother lay on top of him facing the door with the same expression. The same expression as the rest of them. Sasuke saw someone lurking in the shadows as he shouted, scared, "Who is there?" The response was instantaneous as he saw a pair of glowing red eyes. His brother's eyes. Sasuke fell to the floor as he cried at Itachi. "He helped me. What have happened?" Itachi came out of the shadows, blood all over his uniform. "It Itachi." The older brother replied coldly, "I did it." Sasuke's eyes widened at that statement as he realized what his brother had said. "Well, what? It Itachi, this is no tea time to BBPL playing Joe jokes." Sasuke cried out while trying to wipe his tears away. "Oh? But who said I was joking, Sasuke?" Itachi said as he pulled out his sword and stabbed it into their father's corpse and twisted it. "I killed them all, Sasuke. I did." Itachi said, as if he was stating facts that he had learned for a test. "Why? No. It circa can't be you." Sasuke said as he crawled away from his brother, trembling in fear. "Believe it, Sasuke. I killed them all. But don't worry, I won't kill you. No, you are too far weak, however your friend Naruto was it. I think the village is long overdue for another attack. Maybe this time Naruto will die instead of it being sealed within him." Itachi said with a small grin at the end. "No. Not Naruto." Sasuke thought as he stood up to face his older brother. "And no. I won't allow you to hurt my friends," Sasuke yelled. Itachi smiled coldly at his brother as he disappeared before Sasuke's eyes. Sasuke looked around to find his brother before he turned around and saw Itachi standing behind him with his sword out ready to kill. "And you think you can stop me?" The Uchiha who trembled before his brother's might. "Just give up already, you are ruining the Uchiha family name." Sasuke whimpered as he thought it was the end of the line for him. But he remembered something. A line Naruto said earlier. "Hey Sasuke, friends don't give up on each other, right?" Even though it was said by Naruto for Sasuke to help him, he still remembered it. Because it was true. He didn't give up on Naruto when he found out he had the Kyuubi inside him, no matter how scary it was. Nor did he allow other people to question his friendship with the blonde boy. And he sure as hell wasn't going to allow another person he cared about to be taken away from him. Like his cousins, his aunts and uncles and his parents. Sasuke clenched his fist as he replied to his brother with tears in his eyes, "Friends don't give up on each other. I won't allow you to hurt my friends, ever Itachi. I promise." Itachi sheathed his sword as he replied, "Very well. I'll take you up on that promise, grow strong, and maybe you won't be weak enough to let those you care about die. Farewell, little brother," Itachi said. And for a split second, Sasuke could have sworn that he saw his brother crying. Not tears of happiness. Tears of sadness. Anguish. That was the last thing Sasuke saw before he blacked out. Hiruzen sighed as he looked over at the mountain of paperwork that was currently sitting on his desk. "Oh Kami, why did I ever think of becoming Hokage again? This paperwork was too much to handle when I was young, let alone when I'm old." He pondered while staring at the letter currently in front of him. "Oh? The crazy cat has gone loose again. Will be a fun mission for the newly graduated genin," he thought as he signed it off, ready for tomorrow morning. He yawned as he smoked from his pipe. Maybe it was time to get some rest. That line of thought was interrupted when an out-of-breath Asuma ran into his room, sweat dripping down his face. "Dad. The Uchihas, they have been wiped out completely." Hiruzen put on a fake mask towards his son. "Regretfully, I had a helping hand in doing this. Maybe one day, the sins of my past will catch up to me. Until then I can only pray." "How many dead, Asuma?" Asuma replied, "All the Uchiha, barring for the boy." Sasuke, I think his name is. Hiruzen nodded. As Itachi said, he would spare his brother's life. But that's not all, father, a civilian was killed as well. Haruno Kazashi was stabbed at the front gate. Hiruzen dropped his pipe in shock. Haruno Kazashi. What the hell was he doing there? Wait, he was an ex-member of Root, wasn't he? Danzo, you bastard. Hiruzen walked with his son as he was telling him Sasuke's condition. Lock up the gates, whoever is behind this might be still around. Quickly go and make sure Uchiha Sasuke is with a guard at all times, even after he wakes up. And bring Shimura Danzo to me right now. He roared to his son. Hiruzen waited patiently as Danzo finally entered his office. Danzo was the same as always, only this time covered in bandages across his face. Yes, Hiruzen. What do you require at this time of night? Some of us have to actually sleep. Danzo said as he sat down opposite Hiruzen. Hiruzen flipped his office table as he couldn't keep his anger in check, however this didn't faze Danzo. Oh? What happened, Hiruzen? Hiruzen saw red as he hit Danzo with the strongest punch he could muster. While it was nothing compared to his heyday, it was strong enough to draw blood from Danzo. Don't play games with me, Danzo. Tell me why you employed Haruno Kazashi. Danzo's sole unbandaged eye lit up in surprise as he replied, you knew. Hiruzen laughed as he coldly replied, knew. He's dead now. Because of you. Now you sent him towards the compound tonight, but why? Did you not trust Itachi? Danzo nodded as he responded, the younger Uchiha befriended our little Nine Tails, you don't think I can't see what this means. Itachi would have done more than that tonight, which was what I proved as he killed Kazashi. Hiruzen shook his head as he couldn't think straight. There are 7, Danzo, 7. You just killed an innocent man for no reason, and now I have to lie to his family, and their wounds will never heal. What is this, a game? Hiruzen shouted at the man. Danzo sat up as he spat blood on the floor of the office. Game? You misunderstand me, Hiruzen. All I have done is for the benefit of the Leaf, and the possibility that Itachi could have stolen our Jinchuriki and given it to a Wagakure or even Kumagakure is very real. Kazashi knew the risks when I told him about this. Danzo said as he shook his head, disappointed that Hiruzen saw him as a tactless fool. Hiruzen had to physically stop himself from attacking Danzo. Why? Don't you understand? Danzo. You killed an innocent man for something you have no proof over. Danzo snorted. Proof? Who do you think controlled the Nine Tails all those years ago, huh? An Uchiha. It has to be. Hiruzen threw his hands up in the air as he couldn't formulate a reply. So you told Kazashi to spy on the massacre to ensure it happened properly and that Itachi didn't overstep his bounds, correct? Danzo nodded. Leave, Danzo. Leave, now. Danzo stood up as he nodded and went to walk out of the Hokage's office. No, that isn't the exit. I meant the village, Danzo. Danzo stopped walking as he turned around to face Hiruzen confused. As of now I declare you a traitor to the Hidden Leaf. Go, somewhere else that is far from here. If you are still in my office in the next minute, Kami knows what I'll do to you, old friend. Danzo laughed as he replied out of the leaf. You surely lost it, Hiruzen. The third Hokage shook his head as he let his killing intent be known to Danzo. You will leave. You will never speak to any members of Root, past or present, and your influence will no longer exist in this village. Danzo protested, this village will not be able to survive without me. I'm the one that keeps it safe, we are at war, Hiruzen, can't you see? I said leave the village, Danzo. Hiruzen bellowed. Danzo nodded as he bid his goodbye to his old friend and left his office. He didn't dare to go to Root's headquarters, he would upset Hiruzen further. However, Danzo did make a trip to the Uchiha compound and managed to take a few eyes for later. As he left the village he saw Itachi overlooking Konoha with his watchful eyes. Ah, Danzo-sama. Itachi said in shock. Yes, Itachi. It is me, Danzo. Come, quickly. We must move. Alas, our worst fears have happened, Hiruzen has gone senile and has driven me to exile. But our plans will come to fruition, we will save Konohakagure together, Itachi. Itachi nodded as he jumped down from the branch and followed the elder shinobi. Remember, Sasuke, remember your promise to me. Itachi thought as he and Danzo walked down the main road, eventually being unable to spot Konoha. It was a rainy day. Many classmates had come and visited Sakura, but she hadn't seen them. No one answered the door, not even her mother who usually answered it. Sakura's mother hadn't left her room since the funeral, which was 2 days ago. And Sakura herself. She stopped crying on the first day. According to the Hokage, her father was killed while Itachi was trying to escape after murdering his clan. But it didn't add up, her father was shopping. What business did he have at the Uchiha compound? While she wasn't all knowledgeable, she could piece 2 and 2 together. Her father had another story that wasn't being told and it was hurting her mother and herself. She threw her pillow across her room as she started to cry. I promise you, Dad. I'll find out the truth by becoming a stronger ninja than you could have ever imagined. And I will find out what happened. For mother's sake. She said as she got on the floor and started to do the same exercises her father had taught her. I will become strong. It had been nearly 7 weeks and Sasuke still hadn't come back to the academy. Naruto frowned as Iruka was talking about an exam they were going to have next week, detailing how we should revise and whatnot. I hope he is doing better than before. Naruto thought to himself. Sasuke frowned as he still couldn't walk straight. It had been 4 months since that happened and he was only now discharged from the hospital. They did many checks on his mental health and only now was he admitted outside finally. First thing he was going to do was check up on Naruto. His friend. The one he had sworn to protect. And he wasn't going to fail. Sakura sighed as she woke up and made herself breakfast. It had been almost a year and while some aspects of life had returned to normal for Sasuke. Sakura wasn't as lucky as he was to have a friend like Naruto. Not only did Naruto and Sasuke train thrice as hard, but Naruto started to skip lessons with Sasuke. No matter how much Iruka got annoyed, he never penalized them. She scoffed as she started to eat her bacon and eggs. She had set aside a plate for her mother, but chances are that she wasn't going to eat it until Sakura would have to force it down her throat when she got back from school. Sakura saw another late rent payment letter on the table as she sighed. Mother, get out of bed now. Daughters shouldn't have to look after their own mothers, you know. She screamed. Come on Sasuke, it's just to watch a theater production. It's nothing dangerous. Naruto complained to his best friend. No Naruto, you don't understand, I'll protect you until we are genin. That bastard could come back at any time and we need to be prepared. I won't allow him to take away another person I care about. Naruto sighed as he said, so you are going to kill him. Sasuke shook his head as he replied, if it comes down to it, I don't know Naruto. He's still my brother. And he never told me why he killed them. But I know he's been killing other people. I can see it on the news and one day I'll get strong enough and I'll bring him to justice for everyone he has wronged, myself included. It was nighttime as 2 boys stood on top of the Hokage's monument. The blonde boy was grinning as he was clutching his newly acquired headband while his friend was staring at the village. So Sasuke, we are genin now, huh? Naruto said. It had been a few years and he was 12 years old, nearly 13 as he showed off his headband to the world. See this? This is my one-way ticket to becoming the greatest Hokage ever. He said while waving it around. Sasuke gave a small smile as he held onto his headband with one hand. Yeah. And I'm one step closer to achieving my goals. He said while staring at the starry night. I'll make sure Itachi is locked up for the crimes he has committed not only against me, but against everyone else. Naruto grinned as he asked, why don't we shout it out? On top of the monument. Sasuke stared at the blonde boy confused. Oh, come on Sasuke, it would be cool. Sasuke laughed as he replied, okay. If you say so Naruto. On 3. The blonde boy nodded. I'm going to be Hokage. I'm going to bring justice. They both smiled as they heard it echo. Tomorrow was a big day, they would be sorted into their genin teams. Naruto grinned as he thought to himself, are you proud yet, Dad? Just watch, I'll make you and Mum even prouder. What if Naruto takes being a ninja seriously? And thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down, and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.